I'm gonna pee in here.
I what?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Cheap Seat Critics Podcast. Was that a quote from the movie? I can't recall, but maybe it was. Hey, today we're covering the third installment of the Fallen trilogy, Angel Has Fallen. With me today, we have...
Hello, everybody. I'm one of your hosts, your geeky writer. I remember where the quote is from now. I got it.
I'm Crimson Maroon.
And I'm Spinks, and hey, if you're listening from... Boy, where is this? If you're listening from Moscow, because you could be,
There you go.
you can find us over on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Blue Sky, however you pronounce it. We have a LetterBoxd, all our average out numbers, graphs, whatever we've covered. We have visual side of things over on YouTube, on Rumble, on Spotify. But hey, maybe you're just an audio listener. Totally fine. You could be listening where you're listening to right now. Wait till the end of the podcast. If you're ever questioning what those things are that I don't rattle off, Ryder does it at the very end, in case you're curious. Anyhow, let us run that intro. And that's the intro. All right. So yeah, covering Angel Has Fallen, the third one. We've had a little bit of interesting histories from the previous two to this one. So let's start with histories. Let's start with Crimson. Okay, let's start with Ryder.
Yeah. Okay. So I've heard this movie before. I never heard about this movie at all before the podcast. This is the one that I didn't even think was existed, to be honest with you. And for that reason, this was a wild. This is a wild one for me.
A wild one, just like a wild first time in.
Wild, wild in the sense that I didn't know this existed at all. Like I thought it was just a twofer as far as films go. So this one, I didn't learn until the podcast that this existed.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, let's then go to Crimson.
All right. So as mentioned in the previous two films, I have seen this one. I've seen it once and now twice for the podcast. I guess to keep it up. Before this, I had only seen Olympus Has Fallen and this. I didn't know about London Has Fallen, and then we watched it for the podcast. So now I'm all caught up on the trilogy. Well, I guess we all are, but
we all are.
Beyond that, seen it twice. Nothing really outside of that.
Okay. And then lastly, me. This is my first time seeing it. This film for podcasting ever, and I didn't know like anything about this movie. I didn't know anything about like all three of these movies. These have all been first time watches for me. But I guess anytime I've seen or heard about them, either like a poster or a trailer or a bargain bin DVD or something, I guess all three have been just like mixed. I didn't know which one was from what movie, connected to who was in what. That's probably it. Watching this, does it finally clear up? Yes, I can now indicate the three movies, but all fresh.
Forever.
Yeah. So with that, I have a couple facts for us. Audience, take them with a grain of salt. Found them on the internet. I did not get to sit down with Morgan Freeman, alas, or sit down with Gerald Butler, alas, or, upsettingly. But anyway, what we have here is that the initial release date of this movie was August 23rd, 2019, so at the very tail end of summer blockbusters. It has a runtime of 2 hours and 1 minute, that 1 minute being very important. Budget of 40 million USD, which comes back later in the fun facts section at the end here. It had a box office of domestically 69 million. It had 77.6 million international, making a worldwide 146.6 million. So it did get its funds back.
Profit.
I could see that's why I could see that's why they want to do a fourth one. They're just waiting for a good script.
Ooh, possibly. It has a rating of R because they dropped more than one F-bomb. Its genre is action thriller. It's directed by Rick Roman Wayne. Wait, no, there's no N there. Whale. Wait, I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, who's directed things such as like In the Shadows, Snitch, and both Greenland movies.
Oh, and the Greenland movies have Gerard Butler, I think.
They do. I remember just like a couple months ago, or maybe last month, going to the theater and seeing Greenland 2 poster, and I went, I don't even know what the first one is.
I was the same way. I never heard of the first one.
So a couple fun facts here. The first one is the G20 summit shown in the film, which President Trumbull attends, is actual footage of the 2017 G20 summit in Hamburg, Germany. Trumbull, or Morgan Freeman, was edited in place of the Turkish president, don't know how to pronounce that, and the UK Prime Minister was edited out.
That's
Okay. I was
explains
curious who
that.
got removed. So,
Yeah.
the Turkish president.
Yeah.
Nothing that the
Uh,
typical movie audience would recognize, I suppose. So
Possibly, yeah, maybe it helped internationally, but I don't know. Next one, Gerald Butler stated that this film will be darker and more character-driven than the either films of London Has Fallen or Olympus Has Fallen, even going so far as to comparing it to 2017's Logan. He also expressed hope that this would be the final Has Fallen film.
Can't help but notice you kind of got a little smile there when you said that one.
Oh, I just think it's a little silly comparing this movie to Logan.
yeah, I don't think it got quite that dark. I will say though, this is more character driven. I did enjoy that. There's a lot more going on character wise, which I appreciated for sure.
Where's banning his quips?
Good question. They're not here.
They're with Logan's fuck.
This film had almost half the production budget of Olympus Has Fallen, which was $70 million, where this was substantially smaller at $40 million.
I think each one got a smaller budget, but made more money than the previous. I think that's how that worked when I looked it up originally.
I mean, that means they're doing a good job of staying on schedule, keeping things tight, which is a good job on the production crew and everyone else who's contributing to that, because that's a sign of a good film crew.
Yeah,
maximizing budget.
Yeah.
I got two more here. Next one is Morgan Freeman, who is 81 at the time of this filming, is one of the oldest actors to play a sitting U.S. president in film.
Wow, I didn't realize how old he is now. He's 81 then.
Yeah, and this was 2019, so that was 7 years ago. So
Yeah,
he's
crazy.
88 now.
Yeah.
88. Yeah. This is the one where I definitely felt the age for Morgan Freeman. I think the other two were, he's still very young. He's still got like a lot of fire
Spunk.
behind. Yeah, he's got like the spunk behind the eyes as an actor. I didn't really feel that for this one.
Well, when the previous
He was here for the
movies
money.
brought up,
Yeah.
exactly, when it was brought up that he was just here for the money, I did question: is he going to be in the coma the whole movie?
Most of it, yes.
Almost.
Yeah. And then the last fact I have here is in an interview with Gerald Butler, he stated that the franchise might get as many as 3 more installments.
Yeah,
Which kind of
I mean,
counterplays into his Logan one, where he said he hoped that it would be the last. But maybe he's just saying the franchise could get more, but without him.
maybe.
Yeah,
Who
like
knows?
like I said, I mean, I remember our suggestions from last time, which is just, you do this, but you just focus on another Secret Service group or the equivalent of a Secret Service
The
group in
different
another
country. Yeah. That was kind of the fun thing we brought up. I really want to see that now.
Yeah. So do either of you two have any additional facts to add in?
No, I don't think so.
I do not.
All right. Well, with that, then we'll go into the coverage of the movie. We're going to go linear popcorn. If this is your first episode listening to it, a little odd, but hey, maybe you're just a big fan of the movie. Linear popcorn is where we go from the beginning to the end of the film, where we can kind of jump around from the beginning towards the end. But if we go past a scene, we can go back to it. If we go back a scene, we can go forward. That kind of thing. But we're not going to start with the end.
Darn it.
I know you really want to talk about the end, Crimson.
Do.
But we'll get there. We'll get there. So, with that, let's start with the wild and rowdy historian over here. Let's start with the writer.
Sure. I mean, I pegged the villain for this movie like immediately, but not necessarily because he has played villains. Because I knew I recognized him, I just didn't know from where. But I just pegged him as villain immediately because military contractor, good friend with Gerard Butler, is having financial troubles. Uh, I just like, well, I know who's going to get paid to kill the president in this one. So it was pretty immediate for me on.
Well, that opens up a question I was going to ask, so might as well just do it. From a scale of 1 to 100, how predictable is this movie? 100 being it's plainly laid out, 0 being unpredictable. I'm at like a solid 85. It was so predictable.
Oh, wow.
Everything, the vice president, the contractor, it all. I could tell what was going to happen through the whole movie.
Oh, we'll go 70.
Funny enough, I was leaning on splitting the difference between you two. I'm leaning at 75-80, and I might land on 80, if only for the fact that I think it's just going to depend on how we stretch our definition of how predictable the movie is, because I didn't predict like the specific final action set piece or
Well,
things
yeah, I
like
didn't
that.
predict they were going to fight on a roof, but you could predict the story beats that were
Yeah,
happening.
the story
At least they
beats.
found a way to get to the end.
Yeah, the story beats. I would say 80 then. Yeah.
Okay. Like, I could not predict that his dad would show up. I
Yeah,
didn't know.
that's pretty much the.
Yeah, I didn't know who Wade was talking to. I mean, it was Martin, but it could have been David. It could have been Trumbull. It could have been Ben. For all I know, like, I didn't know who it was. It could have been Connor. That would have been a twist.
Dude, Connor, Ben, where are they at?
Where they're at is the big hit to my subjective score.
Yeah, I miss Aaron Eckhart too.
Yeah, I don't know why he wasn't here. I couldn't find that.
Well, I mean, his term was up, and we got a new president. I guess
That's all. Yeah, that's about it. But I think it would have been so cool if Mike, looking for someplace to go, went to Ben.
Yeah, but Ben would be covered in Secret Service too as a former president, so it wouldn't really fix his problem.
Yes, but then we have, two guys who just go into Leah's house.
Well, we'll get that there when we
Yeah.
get there
We'll
for that
absolutely get there to that when we get to that one for sure.
So I think Mike could just walk into Ben's place if he wanted, but
Yeah, I'll say like going to, well, talking ahead now. I do think that going to his dad is probably more thematic character wise, given like his role as a dad in the story. But I would say I do miss my old characters. Are they safe? Are they all right?
yeah, General Clegg. Where is he?
Darn. Where's Ruth? Ha, got
Yeah,
it. I
Ruth.
remembered her. Yeah, where's Ruth? I don't know. Something I did like, I guess, as the trilogy so far is just seeing the rise of Trumbull. He starts off as Speaker of the House, then the Vice President. Now he's President. The fourth one, I don't know what else he can be. Head of the Illuminati, who knows? But I'm interested in his ascension from the what's next.
He'll be Director of Space Corps.
Space Command. Starting the United Nations
Yeah.
Space Command. That's what he's doing. He's Sergeant Johnson's like distant ancestor or something. I don't know.
Actually, he'll just get a serum and he'll be a superhero.
There you go. Superhero president. We've never seen that before.
Kill me,
Ish.
man.
Maybe someone a little red.
I'll jump to a little bit during. I guess because this movie is structured very differently, it definitely rolls back the action set pieces, for a large portion of the film. So I think, in retrospect, opening up on an action sequence, even if it is training, I do think that it's a good idea for the film because it functions as a pretty good hook compared to the other films, which have more slow starts, I would say. Um, but this one just drops you right into the action. So I think it's a good change of pace for the franchise.
I agree that this one's a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
less actiony in terms of like close-up combat, a lot less knife fights and hand to hand. It's a lot of explosions. There's a lot of explosions in this, uh, so it is different feeling. And this is the first one to not have an open narration going on as well.
Yes.
Because the first one had the historical figures, Winston Churchill, and I think it was like two other people, FDR maybe. And then the second one
Mm,
had the news talking about the terror group, and then this one doesn't have any narration.
I what I guess bring it up here. For me, I know this is the third one in a trilogy. It does not feel like a third movie.
It is.
This felt so adjacent to the trilogy.
I think a large portion of that has to do with like we're not really near any landmarks for a large portion of the film. We're kind of in the setting is very different for this one. You're not in you're not in like, the heart of London, you're not in the White House. You're just around.
I think this suffers the complete opposite of what we said about London Has Fallen, where London Has Fallen was very patriotic. This one's absent. Like, I feel like it's missing its identity of being related to anything
Yeah.
uh, at all.
It just was structured so differently. It kind of reminded me of like Fast and Furious, like all the movies, and then you have Hobbs and Shaw. This felt like that Hobbs and Shaw thing. This didn't feel like Has Fallen #3.
Yeah, but Has Fallen 2, did that really feel like a sequel either? They all kind of just feel like one-off
For,
adventures,
oh, okay. To me, London Has Fallen did feel like a sequel to Olympus Has Fallen.
just because it had Ben in
It's
it,
got the
or what
it's
made it
got
feel
the
like a sequel?
locations, it's got the name cards, it's got the times stated, it's got the mystery build. It's structured almost the same likeness to the first film of Olympus. This one doesn't have any of that. We don't get to know
This
like
one
what
is
time
missing
things are
the names and
happening,
stuff, yeah.
where we're located, who's who.
Yeah, and some of the shots in this felt like CW. Like when they're focusing on like the nobodies, the unnamed people. I usually feel like that's a CW or TV thing, not necessarily movie. And that's more of a subjective reading into things, but that's the vibe I got off of some of the
Oh,
focus
I
in
didn't really
this.
get that. Hmm. I did get that this film was filmed a lot better,
Yeah,
which is
there's
odd because it's a production thing, but the cinematography is way better than the past two movies.
yeah, they step up the cinematography in this one, I think. I have some criticisms for it, but it's mostly uh just that they should have framed something a little bit better rather than just like I want to reshoot the whole scene kind of way. Um
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, so I think we're all in agreement. This one definitely feels the most the odd feels like the odd one out of the trilogy.
It does
Yeah.
feel different.
Um I guess to the degree that it does, I'm curious to see what else we'll highlight over the course of our coverage because obviously the lack quote unquote of action or direct close to close action stuff is I feel for me was the biggest like shift in tone for the film obviously, and there's no really also the fact that the film is not really taking place any near any landmarks and stuff like that, but um yeah, it's definitely a vibe thing. It feels different vibe wise for sure.
It just the absence of Ben really makes it feel off. But for me, it's also just like all these other big named actors are in this movie, which I didn't really get with London Has Fallen, like being the next up from Olympus. That like all the prime ministers and the presidents in that movie or the bad guy like are these big name people. I didn't really recognize most of them, and maybe that's just on me. But in this one, we have Nick Nolte, we have Lance Riddick. You got what- Ti- what's his name? The guy who plays Martin.
Oh,
It's Blake something.
Mr. Blue.
Tim Blake Nelson. Yeah.
There you go.
Piper Perabo. I'm like, just like all these people I recognize. I'm like, oh, wow.
Will Smith's Jada. There you go.
Jada Pinkett Smith. Yeah. Also, I don't know why they recast Leia. Piper Perabo.
That I don't know. I do not know.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with all that. I'm trying to think of another thing that I think how best to describe another like aspect of this film that at least where the tone was obviously different. I think another thing it might suffer from is that the other two films regularly killed off its introduced side characters.
Well, it killed everyone within the first 20 minutes of London Has Fallen.
Yeah, and the same, and mostly the same too for like Olympus Has Fallen as well. A lot of the various side characters that were still alive were the the hostages or that could then carried over into the next film. But the fact that none of those characters carry over here makes this film feel a little bit more disconnected. So I would extend that beyond just Asher. I would extend that to Ruth too, because what this film is missing is like the other Secret Service agent that survived all the bullshit that was happening in the previous two films. Just, being in the background as a character to add more tension so that way when he does roll back up to the hospital, he's like, "Hello, Billy." I'm like, am I supposed to know who this is? You know? I feel like that's kind of what this is missing as a third installment of a franchise as well. It's just more continuity of previous characters.
Yeah, like Lance Riddick, he's the director and he's not in the other movies. It would have been interesting if he was a character we knew.
Yeah.
Granted, all like the Secret Service people we did know died, but something.
Yeah, he got promoted from Fringe to Secret Service.
Or do the Connor thing, where he's talked about and he has a name, but we don't have a face to it yet.
Yeah.
That would work. It would work too, especially since Lynn died in the previous film, so there would be a question as to who is going to replace Lynn as director. So that I feel like that there was plenty of natural conversations to come up with as far as at least name dropping Lance Riddick's character.
Yeah, David something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm in agreement. Just it feels the most disconnected of the group. But
though I guess a benefit for me is that all these bigger named actors being in this movie did make it feel more of a mystery of who like Wade is working for. Like on The Voice, I'm like, oh, that could be, it's probably one of these big name people they got in the movie. But onto the predictability edge, Lance Riddick has a very distinct way of speaking. So even though his voice has changed, his dialect and how he would talk would
speaking patterns and cadence.
Yeah.
So I ruled him out as being the voice on the phone. Unless the movie wanted to do something dumb where it's like, no, it is him. And I'm like, oh, that was not him.
That's not him. That was someone else. I guess another thing to add on to this feels different train is it just felt less intelligent than the other two in terms of Banning's capabilities. The other ones felt like he was smart and that he planned stuff out and he was resourceful. In this, it felt very lacking. Like the truck scene felt like he was just a guy scared on the run, and then he flips his car. He's in the woods with his dad, and his dad's blowing up stuff, and he's freaking out. He just seems less competent in this. The best example of it being competent was breaching the hospital, but even then, that was like surface level stuff.
Yeah,
it just reminded me of like redoing The Fugitive, which was odd.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that because, granted, he's without like supplies, intelligence, and other things to make plans off of, but he's shown to be very resourceful on the fly. So I think there could be a bit more of that. in the sense of maybe, well, you can't exactly have him interrogate someone he considers to be an ally. Like I think he considers the FBI and other Secret Service agents that are chasing him down to be relatively innocent. So to have a scene, I guess, of him interrogating them would be not necessarily a break in character, but it would be a different approach to what we normally see when he's interrogating someone, which is very brutal. Um,
Well, he
and
could interrogate one of the salient guys in the woods instead of just headshotting them. He could have incapacitated them and interrogated then.
well, I think did he? I'm to be honest, that scene was very. I was taking notes during that scene a lot. Did we see him headshot people, or is his dad just blow everybody the fuck up?
No, he fought like 3 or 4 guys in the woods while his dad's
Yeah,
blowing up stuff.
Okay, then yeah, he should
not a
have kept.
couple.
He should have left one alive. To be fair though, he already knows who's responsible. He's just doesn't want
More
to.
information, the better.
Yeah. So, but yeah, but the point still stands is that I think that would help with his competency is trying to get more information, seeing something more of an elaborate plan because I think the film tries to do that when he's like figuring it out they're going to blow up the hospital instead of like try to get to the president or whatever. So there are steps here that just need to be expanded on to show that he's still competent, but I don't think the film does a good job of expanding on those moments.
Yeah. What point did the two of you get that it was a training exercise at the beginning of the movie?
I remembered it being it, so I can't really answer. I don't remember what
Oh,
my
you wouldn't
initial
knowing.
thoughts on it. Yeah.
Honestly, pretty quickly. I thought it was training. Uh, I think after his first close quarters exchange.
Okay. Can you explain to me what type of ammunition or what type of weapons they're using in that training?
Uh,
Probably some rubber bullets or something.
yeah,
Those are rubber bullets?
I think it's supposed to be rubber bullets, which is the paint splatter at the end bugged me a little bit because that for me was quote unquote inconsistent.
Yeah,
But
that's what confused me.
yeah, I'm pretty sure they're rubber bullets. Pretty much right up until that they cornered him. Um, I might be out of the loop now because this is more of I study more military history than I do current events. Sometimes they might have rubber bullets that explode into paint now, but I wouldn't know.
Well, the chopper gunner was not leaving paint marks
No.
where I was shooting, so.
Was it
I
Wade shot him or a goon? I don't
think
recall.
I
It
think
was
it
a
was just
goon.
soldier goon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't Wade.
Okay.
Wade was there, but he was just there to like to prove a point. Like, okay, we're kiting him here. We're good.
Yeah. But congrats, you made the farthest than anyone. I like the drop of not knowing really what's going on, but picking up the detail that he's wearing the same uniform as everyone else. So I thought that was like him infiltrating some kind of compound. And I like the mystery of that. But I got to the point of realizing it's a training when, after the 2 previous movies, him shooting these people, they're not bleeding. There's no blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the question, the thing that made me question whether it was training or not was when he pushed the guy down the stairs, and that came back. So I was more okay with that because
Sure now.
he's very quick and but he's also not as brutal in his fighting. So I picked up his training sequence pretty quickly. But yeah, I see what you mean. I do also quite like the somewhat mystery of what's going on at the start of it.
I do question his quote unquote death, though. I don't think he would have just charged out the door and got shot like that. I don't know. I think he would have been a little bit more tactical with that.
Yeah, I
Open
think
and then
How it started.
the change you need to that
Yeah.
is you need to make it obvious that he's being chased.
yes, that would make that better.
Yeah. No, I kind of agree with you, Little Crimson, because at the beginning of like seeing everyone walk in slow mo, and the slow mo looked pretty cool with the smoke, but
That
he's
was pretty good.
ducked and looking out a window kind of thing. He didn't really have that at the end. He just ran out a door.
Yep.
But
So,
maybe he was
a little
just getting too
unfortunate.
busy.
Maybe he is impaired in some capacity.
Yeah, I did like that.
Yes. I do before it's like introduced properly, I do like the setup that he's getting older, he's taking painkillers, something's wrong. I do like all of that leading up to the confirmation of him like getting to the doctor, more or less. Because he's got the scene in the car where he takes the pills, and then he takes one again at home once his wife isn't around. Once he's sure his wife isn't around.
Yeah, because he's human. He's not
Yeah.
a super soldier. It's a nice
Yeah,
Hawkeye parallel.
I had a feeling you
Which
were going to
maybe
bring that up.
that's more of a parallel than Logan.
I mean, Logan is also getting old and can't heal. I mean, I see the parallels there. It's just one feels a lot more emotionally invested than the other. I won't say which one. I don't know.
I mean, to be honest, I
I
don't think you
remember.
have
I
to.
remember.
I think it's self-evident.
No, I remember watching Hawkeye with Crimson, and when Kingpin was in his Hawaiian shirt, Crimson shed a tear.
Oh gosh, yeah, not good tears though. Yeah.
So bullet dodge for me. Thanks.
There's some good in that show, but there's also bad in that show.
Yeah, which makes it an okay show.
Eh, mm, not a bad show.
You know what? We'll cover it down the line when we get there.
Uh, let's see. Where's the simulation? Still the training? Yeah. Uh, so I don't know if they exposed too much or just enough of their relationship here. They kind of front loaded pretty heavily,
Because he's a new
establishing that they're
character being
buddies.
introduced.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I need contracts. Hey, Banning, can you give me contract Banning? I need it. We're friends, right? We were friends before. It wasn't that bad,
Yeah,
but
it's not that bad,
it
but
did feel pretty.
it is on the nose. But I don't want to dissuade it because they brought it up in a as natural of a way as they actually could. I think it is on the nose for dialogue, but I think it flowed well with the conversation of them both catching up as old friends and talking about their respective current problems.
David's retiring. You going to take the director job?
So I do think that while it is upfront, I wouldn't say the dialogue is terrible with that.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I like when he's taking the pain meds in the car after the training. The music that plays, I thought was nice. I kind of touched on music for the past two movies, but this one with the slow piano, but the background beat really reminded me of like the newer Hitman games, like the idle music in that.
Interesting.
I wouldn't know. I haven't played Hitman properly.
There's another part at roughly 28 minutes in the film. After the FBI get to the scene of the bombing and everything, the music starts to sound like the theme to Arkham City.
I'd have to go back and check on that. I didn't really get any Arkham vibes.
I do. Yeah, the music is interesting for this one. I would still put London Has Fallen's music above this one as far as the OST is concerned, but
I would. But this is like all three of them. I think where it's just it fits. I don't think it's bad or great. I think it's good. It covers
I think this
the
one's
scenes properly.
for me. This one
I
was
agree
the
that for
least
this one.
noticeable. But what'd you say?
I agree with Crimson that this one is the most like just this fits. This is fine. This isn't like exceptionally wonderful, but not terrible.
Yeah, it's not going to
Doesn't
change your
strike-
life. It's not going to change your life like a John Williams soundtrack. But
No,
It's not going on your playlist.
no. The first one seemed the most just like I guess the worst to me. I mean, it just fit the mold, but it's just like patriotic music, hero,
Yeah.
huzzah.
it works. Like I said, it fits. I would say there's nothing really diverse about the soundtrack, which is kind of why I think London Fallen I like more because it's kind of a blend of something more energetic and but adding its own spin on it, but also still keeping the military
Yeah,
drums
and the guitar when Lynn dies.
yeah.
That was good.
Something that was brought up in the previous one was expectations of Banning and his child. So I'm going to pose the question to you guys. Do you think they did enough for your own satisfaction? And I guess Springs can go first.
Uh, it's tricky. The scenes of Leah and the kid, I didn't write down the kid's name. Um,
Lynn.
Lynn, of Leah and Lynn together, very good. I like the tension and Lynn crying and the like fear in those scenes. I didn't really get it from Mike being like, I have a family to protect. He has one scene with his dad about it. That's about it.
Yeah, I think they crafted a story to where it wasn't really necessary for most of the film. Once he had the realization it's leverage on him, then he brings it up to his dad, and then his dad takes care of it for the rest of the movie, pretty much. So I think with the story they set up, I think it's an acceptable amount. I would have liked more, but I think they did enough with it.
Yeah,
And Brenner.
I'm kind of in that group as well, where um I do think in the way that he's struggling to be a father is displayed in a more inferable, subtle way because the film chooses to highlight how he is with his own father. And as for direct interactions, I get the generic stuff. I know he loves his kid, kisses her goodbye, and cracks jokes to her in other parts of the film. But I definitely think what I had wanted with that ended up being satisfied by introducing his dad as a paranoid, like Vietnam vet survivor character, which is it's funny how they're kind of foils to each other in that way. But I think so. What I had wanted, I guess, from the father son dynamic with or father Lynn dynamic with Banning and with his kid Lynn and his family, I do think I got enough to be satisfied with the other to understand at least what's going on there, but to get more of the character stuff by introducing his dad. And additionally, though, I'm also in the camp of Sprinks. I think a little bit more worry on his part probably would have helped. I do like that Lay remains sort of steadfast when the FBI tries to more or less twist her against her husband. So I do like that she remains steadfast. But I think there's a little bit more that I think we could feast on theoretically. Because I do like that he calls to check in. For me, that was a very important scene, and doubly important too that he recognized that they were going to be the FBI was going to be listening in pretty much immediately.
Yeah, I think they kind of did the minimum interactions wise, but serviceable for the type of film that we got.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, he did, when he got to a payphone, did call home to check on Leah first and the family and make sure Lynn's okay. Um, Even though that was also secondhand into contacting the FBI who were tracking the phone anyhow that he already knew.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like so I like that scene a lot, but I think I wanted more of him talking directly to the FBI because he knows that they're listening, and I feel like this would have also helped with Crimson's problem of just him showing off a little bit more competence in the sense that he knows he's playing into the hand that the FBI is listening in, so just talking directly to them a little bit more might have helped as well. But I get why they
You could
wanted to keep
could
the
have
focus
told
on the
them.
family.
You could have told them about Salient because he knew at this point.
Yeah, that's I'm not sure why he didn't. I That's one of my bigger like where is this on my damage letter? It's probably my one of my bigger issues with the film. Yeah.
That he's now retaining information.
Well, that he didn't just tell them that he already knows it's salient at that point, so he could have given the FBI that direction.
Yeah, instead of waiting for it in the woods by painting it on a wall of blood with blood. Um, I don't really see why he wouldn't do it now. The only thing they wouldn't trust him, but they wouldn't trust him later in the woods either. So I
At
don't know
least
why
they
he would hold
have
on
the
to it.
information
Yeah,
because
To me, the difference is word versus action. Like just saying over the phone, it's like, yeah, maybe they won't even listen to it, won't even investigate. The woods, there's actual like bodies and evidence that they can scan and be like, there's no records of these guys, and then find a connection there, which they do.
Yeah, I still feel like he would have mentioned it, but the FBI could have put it on the back burner, and then they start picking up more things, and obviously when they get to the woods, at that point, that's they're fully worth exploring to them. But I do, it's just something that would have added a little bit more to that scene, that particular scene.
Well, yeah. Leo's like, "Tell me what's going on," and he's like, "I tell you now, but I need more evidence to give. They won't believe me," or something like that. So the audience can kind of figure out what's going on in his head, because right now we don't really have much of why he
Or
wouldn't say it.
him not telling over the tapped line for them not to hint off to Wade that he knows.
Yeah, if Wade had a spy in the FBI, totally a reasonable thing for him to try and deduce. I would be fine with that.
Yeah,
Well, they
if he's
have,
on the phone, he's like, "I don't know who to trust the FBI right now," or I don't know,
yeah,
something
I
other
mean, they
than the
have
zero.
unbelievable hacking ability that they could be
It's pretty
listening to that too.
unbelievable.
I mean, they do. They're just like, oh yeah, the FBI is in a search currently in this general vicinity, and yeah, being able to remotely hack the engine power off on moving vehicles alongside that was, oh wow, this
Is
is
that
a
a hack or like
futuristic
an
movie.
EMP thing?
Okay,
I feel like it
so
should be more of an EMP thing, but it would affect their own vehicle.
EMP thing is a optimal choice if your car is pre 2015. After that, a lot of digital cars could probably be hacked into and turned off. But because the problem is, I don't. It's still a blurred line there for me. So it's lucky that it works. Uh, as far as I'm concerned, because the fact that all three of them are shut off, it's pretty lucky.
Yes, all three of their cars, but not the cars that were driving with a person to enact it.
Yeah. So like I said, it's a very pointed and direct hack.
Yeah, they got into the mainframe of the engine.
Yeah. Given the
Oh, I
level
don't
of sophistication these drones have, they have some tech that's not really they have some pretty high tech stuff.
Yeah, the drone, the drones were cool. I'm glad it wasn't just like a mortar strike because I thought it was birds and they're actually like drones. That was neat. Um, the I didn't get how they loaded them because it felt like a single fire tube, and then it shows them firing off like a second. I guess they loaded a second round.
It
That would be my guess, because I saw that as well. They
it
launched
looks
a
like
second wave of
they
them.
might have had like 5 in each tube and they just fired it like them all out at once, but I'm not sure. So they might have reloaded it, but
There's enough
Yeah,
time in between the first and the second wave to presumably
they
have
could have.
reloaded
Yeah,
it. So
it wouldn't make
that's what
sense
I'm
though
gonna
that
go with.
they're like have two rounds in a chamber and they fire one off without the second one doing anything. Like that doesn't make sense to me for how
No, it
that
doesn't make
works.
sense to me either. But yeah, the drone's pretty cool. I don't know if the intention was to kill Trumbull, because I feel like they would have attacked Trumbull instead of have him be the last one attacked. I don't really get it.
I feel like Trumbull is the primary target, but I don't understand if Banning is supposed to take the fall and Banning didn't leave the boat with Trumbull, would the drones have just averted themselves or would they have all been wiped out? Like I'm
That's a good
not
question. If Banning stayed on the boat, what was the
yeah.
plan?
Like I said, I the plan kind of fell apart for me a little bit because they explicitly say they want Banning alive to take the fall, and I question then so I'm like that they were relying on Banning
It I don't think much would have changed because the two survivors would have still been the Trumbull and Mike. They just wouldn't have been unconscious when found.
Well, yeah, I think no. I think their plan is to kill Trumbull because their VP is the one that wants power, right? So he only gets
Yeah,
power if the president's dead. So the
Yeah,
only reason that Trumbull, quote unquote, survives is because he was next to Banning at the end.
I know. I'm going off of you saying if he didn't get off the boat, like if he didn't trade out, then I think they would have killed everyone else. The drones would have been done there, left the boat with Trumbull and Mike, and they probably would have fled.
Yeah,
But even still, it's like the account's already been wired into Mike's. Mike is
yeah,
the only survivor with Trumbull.
But
but
that keeps Trumbull in power still.
that keeps
How do they
Trumbull.
get Trumbull out of the picture,
Not
Sprinks?
only does
Is, I
that
guess, the question.
not only did they keep Trumbull in power, Trumbull would have been a witness to the fact that all the drones would have went around them essentially, like they wouldn't have attacked them.
Do you think rather than multiple drones to cause like a large explosion, they would have tried to do one to like sink the boat?
Honestly, they just needed a sniper. This is a bit flashy.
It's flashy, but pretty darn effective.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm not a fan of this because I think they did try to kill Trumbull, but the plan would have made sense if Banning was on the boat with him.
Yeah.
It makes
Mind
sense
you,
to me
it's
to take out the perimeter first, like cover around rather than direct in. Make sure everyone's taken care of first.
Sprinks, what do you think the plan was, I guess?
The
Point A to
plan
point
was
B,
to
what's the whole plan?
wipe out everyone except Mike, so Mike would be the fall guy.
All right. How are they going to get Trumbull?
Well, to get him alone,
How are they going to do
unless
that?
they.
Banning didn't leave the boat.
Well, as I said, just a single drone to try to get the boat, rather than dive bomb like 10 drones for a big explosion.
Well, Banning would have been on the boat with him. He would have died with Trumbull.
Not in a large explosion, just to sink the boat.
And sinking the boat kills Trumbull?
Sinking the boat gets them in the water, which is what happened. And then try to get the two of them.
Yeah, so with that in mind, I don't think the plan made sense. I feel like it was tailored to Banning leaving, which they couldn't have predicted. Kind of goes with Kang's whole plan of the president going against protocol. Like his whole plan
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have worked at least the way it did if he didn't do that.
I mean, they only had the 4 guys in the, like, hazmat looking gear. I'm just trying to think, like, they could have just had other people on hand to just shoot Trumbull.
Yeah, we get no evidence of that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's would have been my plan, I guess, in this situation, is I would have someone on site once the Secret Service team is wiped out to like triple check. um, on
So I
on the
guess for me, I'll label it as a flaw. Doesn't completely destroy the movie, but it's got a lot of weight to it.
yeah,
Hmm.
I think I'm bouncing between no, it's a very plot thing, so I'm at an issue for sure. Could be talked into a flaw.
Interesting. I'm at a nitpick. So it's something, but it's minor.
I guess why is it minor?
Because Wade's capable of all these things to take out Trumbull if he needed be, and they would have had some other form to get Trumbull if that was their main goal.
Okay.
Well, that's assuming we don't see any other stuff, and we already see he sucks at planning with enough men at any situation.
Well, true, but they didn't even, I guess, for that, didn't double check that upon um, Trumbull and Mike jumping in the water, that a couple drones hitting the water surface took him out. Like they don't have vitals on him. They don't indicate. I mean, he didn't die. He just went into a coma. But I don't know if they just got like a drone footage of just them, face down in the water, assuming they're dead, because we didn't see that either. They just saw
Yeah,
him
the
both jump in the water.
drones operate on the facial recognition, so if maybe they didn't show their faces, the drones wouldn't lock on, which would seem like a kind of a faulty system, but maybe that's how they operate. I don't know. Actually, no, they had the drone operator that canceled Mike's assassination,
Yeah.
so they could
No,
have
I
just
think
controlled
I
him.
think that was just indicating who is who. I think that was just helping them make sure they didn't kill Mike. I don't think it was necessarily a lock-on feature. But I'm kind of in the ballpark. They didn't even really confirm if Trumbull was dead or alive.
which is something I think in of itself, because I do think the plan was
Considering
to kill Trumbull.
Yeah, considering that is the plan, the plan was to kill Trumbull and blame it all on Banning. So I do feel like there's going to be problems with it. Not our, you know what I mean. Problems with the scene,
Damn
no
it.
matter how we walk away with it in any capacity. So I
On the flip side, I think the explosions look pretty darn good.
Yeah, I had a feeling you were going to bring it up because if you didn't, I didn't. Because we were talking about the explosions looking not amazing in the previous one.
Oh,
They stepped it up.
the
I
CGI
think a
didn't look
lot.
good in the previous. That this one looks good.
I'd say
Yeah,
I think
all
some
the
of these
explosions look
explosions are
pretty good in
practical
this.
too. Not all of them, but I think
Yes,
I do think it's a mix.
there's
Yeah.
definitely a lot of practicality being used here.
yes, you can tell a lot of those men flying are on wires.
Woo. Lots of flying men in this, but
It's
as stated earlier,
raining
lots of
men, oh
explosions in this.
hallelujah.
It did. Yes, I did kind of think. I don't know if it was like just something to look cool, like a director's choice, but I understand that it's like, okay, to indicate the explosion did get someone, it met their target, but it did seem like every explosion had to show someone flying.
Most of them did. Yeah. And I think you hit it on the head. It's to convey that people are actually dying to them.
Yeah.
Is it a nitpick slash nick that the doctor doesn't recognize who Banning is in this world? Because Banning has saved the president twice from disaster in the world. I feel like he would be this world's version of Captain America almost. Not necessarily,
No,
not quite to that degree, but he would be very recognizable.
I think it's fine. Not everyone follows news or agenda of what's going on. Maybe they know the name, and even then, Mike gives a false name. I think he
Yeah.
gives his middle name.
Yeah, no, no. Cause I'm just wondering if this is on anybody's scale. I do have. I was just. It's more of a question because I think I'm at a nitpick for it, but it's more. It's less to do with the doctor not recognizing him, and more so just like how broadly other people would perceive him.
No, it's not on mine. I mean, you could probably ask like 10 Americans who the vice president is, and several of them wouldn't know. Like, and that's a pretty big figure. So a guy that just saved the president, I don't think would
I
be
mean, I've seen a
much.
video of people in California looking at the United States upside down and not knowing what it is. So,
Well, yeah,
That's
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 a
that's
little
a
bit.
failure on our education system right there. I can't really help with that. Okay, I just wanted to vibe check with you guys on that one. I thought it was interesting. So
yeah.
Good thing to bring up. The
um,
incident that he brings up is from a car accident. Are you guys thinking it's from Olympus Has Fallen or a bogus story?
I think it's from a. I don't think there was a car accident that caused this. I think it was a combination of Olympus and London.
yeah, I think he's just talking
Okay,
about damages done to him. Like he's just fine trying to lie to cover it.
okay, so bogus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just wear and tear from the job, but it wasn't from anything we've seen explicitly from the movies. Just a combination.
Yeah. Nothing. It's nothing specific that happened. There's plenty of things that has happened to him that could fuck him up. So
Because actually, London Has Fallen also had a car accident when got hit in the side,
I don't
and then
know.
Ben got taken.
London got
Yep.
So
yeah car accident. We got in London. Got a couple in there. Then we have him falling from the roof. I think in uh Olympus Has Fallen. He's taking some hits.
yeah,
Like I said, I
I
don't
don't
really
doubt
have.
he's gotten hurt.
Yeah.
I was just seeing
If
how
the
accurate his
tail
story was. Yeah.
of if it's that car crash from London, the following bit when he's going through the building, kind of doing that solo army thing, he's not acting concussed.
No, but I could also argue he doesn't really act that hurt in this either.
I suppose that's
Like,
true. He just has
like
dizzy spells.
during the final hospital bit, he's pretty fine, excluding the rooftop scene. It's
Um.
kind of just Mike Manning,
Got.
hero extraordinaire.
I definitely have some. Uh. I keep forgetting the orders. Issue or flaw that's higher.
flaws. Higher.
Issues middle, flaws higher.
Okay, yeah, I keep having some issues. I had some more issues with the FBI investigation because they're like, "Oh man, we found your prints in the car or like in the van." I'm like, "Okay, what about the footprints? Do they match his shoe size?" Like we see them walking around, we see them car drive off as well. So the FBI have a lot to work with. So it's for me, the like leaving Banning's training gear would put him under suspicion, don't get me wrong, but they also have a lot of other evidence that's not conducive to specifically Banning. And even though we see them in hazmat suits and everything, like there would be obvious footprints in the area. So I that clearly would show that there's more than one person there.
Were the ones in hazmats wearing like booties, or were they actually in like boots?
Uh, I mean, it wouldn't matter either way. There would still be
It
obvious
would show
footprints.
size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they said explicitly he worked alone or not. He could
Yeah, my,
had
my issue with this is
cohort.
that they're trying to nail Banning down specifically and nothing else around him for a bit.
Well,
That's
yeah,
they eventually
does-
pick up on like, oh, his crews come to rescue him or whatever, but I feel like that's would have been more of a concern even then, even before that actually happens.
I understand that there would have been more investigation in the crime scene of that van. But I think they do track it to that he's not working alone and they connect it to working with the Russians. I
I
think that's the best. They know he's not alone.
Okay. That does lower it more to a Nick for me. I still have Nick with it in the sense of I think that they would have shown they should have shown the FBI trying to stop whatever group that he was working with because they would still be in the States
Well,
at this point. It's
yeah,
less
it would have been
than
questionable finding multiple sets of footprints. I mean, there would have been 4, unless they all wore the same exact shoes and size of those 4 guys in hazmats walking around. But that there would have been multiple footprints, but only one set of DNA found. That should have been something that was brought up.
yeah. So there's pieces missing to this investigation, but I think I'm more okay with it now that you pointed that out, Sprinks. But I still gonna walk away with a Nick for it.
All right. I guess I'll bring up a question that I was going to go into this with, and that's: did they do a good enough job to frame the angel, the president's double protector? Did they do a viable job?
I think so.
Uh,
Lone survivor, account, sure, funds,
yes.
DNA in the drone vehicle.
The plan makes sense, but they needed to establish, I think, more of a
Motive.
yeah. I think they needed more. What's missing as far as them setting him up to set him up is what is their motive from his perspective.
$10 million.
That wouldn't work for Banning. I think everybody in Banning's life would know that wouldn't work for Banning. So it's hard
like
to
Leonard
do.
Fallen, where he's like, yeah, I want the society to be better. Join me. And 20 million euros.
Yeah, gosh, that guy, yeah. The system's broken. And $20 million. Terrible.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing lacking from me, but other than that, I do think it is believable enough to at least apprehend, to question, at least.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, if their plan had worked, Trumbull would be dead. So I think they would be even more willing to nail him to the wall.
Yeah.
But I do think with what we do understand their plan to be, I think it works. My issue is My issue is they just don't immediately knock him out if they transfer him to their van because they have no reason to keep him awake.
The coincidental build-in of he left the president for someone else to take care of before the event happened.
Yeah, that unintentionally does build into it, but I don't think they planned for that.
Well,
no.
There was also nobody alive to know that happened.
Yeah.
Other than drone footage, I suppose.
Yeah, but that's
on Wade, and Wade's not going to share that. But no, they wouldn't have that.
Trumbull would be the only one to convey that Banning
Placements
left
of
him.
boats sinking, maybe? Body placement versus boats. Like the president's boat where he's fishing on has the guy who traded out with Mike near that wreckage. But then they would be like, why were there two of you on that boat outfitted when he was scheduled to be in that location? So that could bring up some questioning.
How could you forget about Murph Sprinks? He was
Yeah,
a
I'm
very
sorry.
brave agent.
I didn't write down Murph.
Who the fuck is Murph?
Yeah, the
The
guy
guy that
who
took his place on the boat.
Mike said, yeah, give me a push or something, swapped out. But Murph's body would be at that wreckage when he was not outfitted to be there. So that would be
There was
something.
any body left.
Yeah. Yeah, also true. If there was a body left, yeah.
He takes quite a few
Take those
direct
guns
hits, so
right off.
I mean,
He's pretty dead.
Yeah. I have a question. It wasn't blatantly said, and I'm kind of leaning it's not Wade. It could be Wade, but it's brought up that someone is leaking footage to the press, which is Trumbull was
leaking
like,
rumors to the press.
yes. Was it Martin?
I think it is supposed to be Martin. Yes.
Okay, because then it's also brought up that Helen says in the interview or kind of interrogation to Mike that they also had his like what was it the drone van had like his credentials and his Secret Service ID and like all that, which would only be outfitted to him. Does Wade have that information via Martin?
I
And
have
Martin being the VP would have it?
I have no idea. That's another
I
question I
was trying
have,
to
as I don't
okay, I
know.
was trying to piece the connection of how that would work. And Martin I thought was the only one who could, being that he's not a good guy.
Well, she said they found it on the black web. So it wasn't tied to the van per se. It was just found on the internet.
Yeah,
Okay.
one of my things I inferred. It's still for me uh, an issue in the sense that it's not really explained. I thought one of the things that Wade did when visiting Banning at his house and seeing his family is snooped around a little bit off screen.
Maybe, but I don't know what Mike would have classified like that just in his house.
Yeah, I mean he has. I assume he has a computer, but I said that's me inferring something. I he probably got information either from the VP or from his visit to Mike. Um, Either way, I think he could get the
That's
information, but I think that needed to be confirmed considering the importance of how the FBI weigh it.
yeah, that's a possible deleted scene question.
Who knows?
Well, people who have the movie.
I
Right?
guess so.
I think it lays into the I mean, if it was a deleted scene, I think it was possibly cut. You know, all what's the word? Hypothetical, I guess, because I don't know, but could be cut because of the inference that the VP Martin would have access to all uh, Secret Service agents' intel and whatnot, and then he gave that to Wade to give to his hacker buddy to put on the black net. So there's like a connection of how that could link.
And that would probably lean more David since he was the director of the Secret Service.
Hint at it, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a
I guess. Go ahead, Ryder.
yeah, I have a potential. I have another character question for you all. Is it out of character for Trumbull in this film to be wanting to die to wind down like America's approach to warfare in the future, like wanting to roll back mercenaries and stuff like that, and less drone strikes? When in the previous films he like was gung ho about them. Same thing in also in the first one where he's talking about who's to say we're lying to the North Koreans about bombing them this time. He's very very gung ho in the first two movies. So is it a change of character in this one? He wants to roll all that back. That's would be an inconsistency, or does the film do enough to convey that he's grown from that?
I don't think we really got a understanding of his position on mercenaries or contractors to get his stance on that. And did he have a stance on no drones and bombs in this? He was just kind of like anti-war,
Yeah, I mean
which
the
I can.
anti-war is, I
Mhm.
view, what's a kind of an inconsistent of what's come before.
I
I
just I don't. We don't really see enough of him. I think in the previous films.
I don't. I'm kind of. I guess I'm kind of leaning more into that. We don't see enough of him stating one side or the other in the previous films. It's just the means of the actions of what's going on with Olympus and London, that being vice president, he needs to take hold of the situation and end it. But I do see kind of at the end of London when he does the bombing that it's like because of these mercenary acts and things that have accumulated to get to a situation where it's like a 2 year change of from the start of London to the end, that the best way to end it is just not to do it. And being that now he's president, he has action to do so. That
I'm referring more to the scene before the Korean Prime Minister arrives and everything, before the White House even falls. He has a meeting with Ruth and Asher, and he's on there talking about what to do with the North Korean situation, and he's pretty hardline in that scene. Like, he's saying, "Who's to say we're lying about
ye-
bombing them," which is kind of what I see as at least the potential inconsistency for his character in this one.
okay. Best I have to all that is at, I think at least it's been a 6 year time difference from that to here,
Um,
estimately.
yeah. I mean,
That sounds about right.
yeah, I mean, I to be blunt, I don't necessarily use time as an excuse because I mean, a lot of people throw that at um, other films where,
True, but I do think the mindset of the speaker is certainly changed to the mindset of the president, of him being in that position.
yeah, I'm okay. I think in that case, with all that, I'm gonna rest on it is a nitpick because it is a character inconsistency. Technically, I can infer plenty of reasons as to why, but I'm not given any. And it otherwise, because as it stands, I think it is a on its own, it is an inconsistency. So I'm gonna settle on a nitpick for that then.
Okay. It's one of those things like I'm thinking like as speaker, yes, you can say such things because you're not the one to make the actions
Yeah,
of
he's
the situations. You give suggestions.
yeah
As president, you can't really joke about those things. It's like you're choosing,
yeah
and
you
that's
have the power to make the choice, and people are going to live or die with your decisions. So yeah, I like I said, I think I can infer ways to get there, but that wasn't on screen, so it's still going to settle as a nitpick for the character because it is inconsistent with what came before.
okay.
Um, Nitpick for me on the boat sequence, the bombing, the drone stuff, was the lack of any backup stuff. Like there was no dive team or respirator on the boat for. They have to plan if the president has to go in the water.
And they all died. Blew them all up.
We never see a scuba team. Uh, so some acknowledgement to a plan of that nature where Trumbull's like, where's the water team or something, and they look over, then they get blown up or something. This, some acknowledgement of an exit strategy, because as is, there isn't any. I mean, a respirator would be like the bare minimum, where he just grabs it before he dives off. It just seems absent.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is interesting to change. It's just like secure, just like the protection, not exactly an exit or a emergencies. It's just like protection. We got people everywhere. We got choppers. Got bulletproof cased glass, ballistic or whatever on the hull of the boat. It was not, as you said, an escape plan if something was to go wrong.
yeah, I
Other
Our
than
think
I
Secret
guess
Service always
Mike just
has.
being like, "I'll drive you out of here."
yeah, I agree. That's nitpick. I one thing I do like is going back just a little bit is to the when Wade comes to visit Mike's family. I do like the story that Wade gives about Mike when they were very young and in the service together, when he talks about how Mike used to being stubbornly a good person. I think is a very, very good way to highlight, like, at least to his wife, in a way that core of him hasn't changed, which is, I think, feeds she has the reason to, but I think that's for the audience to have layers to why she doesn't really buy into the FBI story.
Yeah, that could be a factor, or she has just been married to him for 6-ish years and trusts him implicitly.
That's true, but this is for the audience.
I suppose so.
Because we have not seen 6 years of marriage.
No.
Mo the cook.
Yeah, Mo.
Never came into play. We never got a face to Mo.
No, but if we
Darn.
got another movie, maybe we will.
Mo could be the next main character. He
We
could carry the banning torch.
Crimson, a question for you, because I know you've seen them. I don't know if Ryder has. With Clay, were you getting a little bit of like red, like similarities?
Kind of with what's his face?
John Malkovich's character.
John Malkovich.
Yeah, especially with John Malkovich's bunker and like how like off the grid he is. I agree.
There you go. Seen it red. One of the best DC movies out there.
It's a DC movie?
That is the DC movie.
That is true, yeah. To be clear though, I've only seen Red 1. I didn't watch any of the other ones.
No, there's only 2 of them.
I believe I've seen both.
Yep, I've seen both. But yeah, I think that's an apt comparison. Does feel like his character.
That
Marvin.
That is who I thought of as well.
Okay. I was just curious on that. Maybe the two of you can help me. I was confused by a snippet of something at 33:30 estimately. When Leah's in her car driving away from like the reporters to go home safely, she's on like a 1-car track like road, and then she starts turning like onto a lawn or like off road, almost like hitting like a light pole. It was very odd.
Right when you said her pulling up past the news people, I was worried because I didn't even look up at the screen. I was too busy writing that the FBI and the news were at her house.
Oh, there's
so
just a part where
don't.
she starts turning off the road, and I don't know why.
I mean, without seeing it, I'm assuming it's to avoid the news people on her driveway. I don't know.
Well, I don't think she's at home. I think she's still at like the hospital.
She's driving away from the hospital.
I thought that was...
I do remember a scene of her driving away from the hospital, but don't remember her going off road. I remember her just driving slowly, trying to get through the crowd.
Yeah, driving slowly on a 1-car road, so no one can like go past her or anything. But she starts turning her car, and there's nothing to turn into. There's no other road or path, or it's grass and a light post. It was very odd.
I'd have to watch that again, but I unfortunately I'm not picking up what you're putting down for this one. I quite like the editing or the lighting of like the flashing police lights when during Banning's walkout to the van.
Yeah, and when he's in the car and everything else goes off except just him.
It's just
red and blue.
Yeah, it's just him and the red, white, and blue for the American colors, and also just it being the police colors. I think is very good. I quite enjoyed that.
That was good. Would that be your favorite shot? I guess we can ask that question. Favorite shots.
Favorite shots.
And I guess mine would be the panning over the top of the room in the hospital of where Trumbull really is with the deception.
Ooh, that was a good one.
That's my favorite.
I don't think they're in a hospital at that point. Are they? Is that still a hospital? Like a different section?
Yeah, that was just a different hospital wing.
Yeah, connected building to the hospital.
That is a good. It's a good reveal. I like that. But favorite shots probably the lights with Banning by himself. I did enjoy that.
Shoot, the light one is really good, and it's like blocking my memory from anything else. I think there's a shot of when Mike is leaving his dad as he's fueling the truck, and it's the two of them in a wide shot as Mike's walking away. I think I did like the proportion, like of the rule of 3 in that shot.
Yeah, decent shot.
Is I'm gonna ask a lot of these questions. Is it a problem that Banning chose a semi instead of literally anything else?
Was were there
No,
other vehicles around? Didn't even pay
not
attention to the background.
I mean,
not really. They're by an open road, but those would all be driving away,
I
and
mean
the truck is the only one that's actually parked within eyesight.
that's true. My issue then changes is where the hell did the bounty hunters come from?
That is fully coincidental and just written in. That I will put as a nick. The militia bounty hunters just showing up out of the blue while he's on the phone. That is completely just random. There is nothing of them on the search for him or the reason why they're in that location. Anything.
Yeah. That word disseminated almost too quickly because he was in custody, so people would not be looking for him unless that was announced that he escaped. And it could not have been long enough for that to reach bounty hunter in the middle of nowhere that they're looking for, that they need to be on the lookout for this person.
Well, they
The militia.
identified themselves
Sorry.
the High Mountain Militia. So it's not like he was seeking out Banning. He just recognized him, but it is an incredibly small window leading to a pretty large convenience.
Yeah. I know that they talk about roping in local officials, but that doesn't happen until after this scene.
It's
Yeah.
actually no, it's bumping up. I have that as a problem.
Ooh, that got
No,
bumped up the entire scale.
no,
Jesus.
no, issue. I missed over issue. Sorry,
It's alright.
Okay.
issue. Yeah, that the
Yeah,
militia just there when he's on the phone and all that.
I probably have it as a nick because it's convenient, but it doesn't really change the story. If you removed them, he could just have stolen a vehicle from the gas station or something. I mean, it doesn't change
True that no,
anything.
it would have changed that it's not a full on 18-wheeler that then would have been used as a distraction, tipping over to stop cars from chasing him
Well,
for
he could
him
have
to then.
stolen the truck. I'm just talking about the guys. They didn't need to confront him. They could have just been getting gas, and he could have just stolen the truck. Uh, they don't have to be militia guys that
Well,
recognize him.
okay. I'm like his confrontation with the two militia guys is what gets the truck guy to pull his gun on him.
Yeah. But if Banning's just like, oh, I need a vehicle, looks around, sees truck, steals truck. I mean, it's that simple. So I have it as Nick. It doesn't really affect the plot all that much, other than he has to hang up the phone, but he has to hang up the phone anyways, so they don't track him, which they do anyways. So
Yeah,
that.
my like it's just the semi is like the most obvious thing you could possibly steal. Like if you took a smaller car, he would be far more difficult to spot and find. But I guess it is the only one around. So I'm with you guys. That's between Nick and Nishio, and it might land on a Nick here for this
Oh,
one.
okay. I'm like, it remains an issue for me because they could just cut those guys out of the movie then.
Honestly,
If the thing is
You
to still
could.
get on the truck and continue, then those two guys are not needed, which just
That was
makes it
just an
more
action
drama.
sequence. Yeah.
it's not even an action sequence. It's just the holding people at gunpoint
Yeah.
sequence. It's just tension, is what it
Yeah.
is.
What was his name? Tim and
Billy
Bobby.
or
He's like,
something. Bobby.
yeah,
Yeah.
shoot him. I'm not gonna die over this.
And then the
I don't
trucker
know if
guy that
that's
he just shoots at, like he's like, "Hey, hands up!" And he just shoots at the ground. He gives up immediately.
yeah, drops his gun.
It's
I don't know if
pretty.
that was this movie's version of like humor.
It's pretty convenient that no one died in that sequence. Because I mean, I get why they're Americans. Barney doesn't want to just kill innocent people, but it's lucky no one got hurt and they're all just wimps.
Except for Bobby, but he got taken out first. Meat shield first.
Yeah, yeah. Issues will also have it. What about Mike being able to take out 4 armored guys in a car while he's chained?
Oh, he should have been knocked out. They have no reason to keep him conscious.
Yeah.
That's my big issue with it.
I mean, he's capable. They are not very capable, it seems. And this is probably my least favorite camera work in the film because
Yeah,
it's
it's
so hard
too
to tell what's
flashy and
happening.
dark.
Considering
You can't
this,
tell what's going on.
considering these people are supposed to be like top of the line, like they're gunning down Secret Service people in later in the film. This is pretty pathetic showing on their part. I think there's I'm between an issue and a flaw honestly for this scene.
He's grabbing my gun.
Yeah.
One of them screams that, and then they all get shot.
It's like,
Well,
man,
two of them get shot.
you're
Or
really
get choked
contributing
out.
to trying to prevent your gun being grabbed.
The first, I can't remember. Does the first guy who like sneak attacks to break the window get knocked out by that? Because then it's basically just Mike versus three guys, and one's driving. Because that does make it better. But if that guy
I don't
just
think
got injured and
he
it's like
doesn't
it's
get
still
no. He chokes him out with the chain later, so he doesn't get knocked out.
oh the gun is right. Okay.
No, it is all of them versus him.
Yeah.
for
And
me.
again, she wouldn't be awake anyway. They have no reason not to knock him out. Like, inject him with something to knock him out. It's just.
They needed him to escape, Ryder.
The writers needed him to escape, not the team that's capturing him.
Yeah.
I have that as a.
It's like a Houdini trick.
I'm leaning Nick. I don't think it's severe enough for
I
an
think Nick.
issue.
Yeah.
It's just incompetence, but it's not impossible that they didn't drug him. It's just they should have done it.
They should have done it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it allows the rest of the film to happen. That's kind of where I'm lying on with this
Well,
one. Because, like, if he doesn't
best I have
escape,
is
then
they need him alive. That is their mission.
they need him alive for now. Like, they can capture him and drag him out and then do whatever they want with him after that point. But him escaping is what enables the film to happen. So,
True, but
That's
they
true.
can't
They actually could have
kill
just
him.
killed him in the car. Actually,
yeah,
at this point they could.
they've already
Once he's
done.
escaped from the FBI and the money's been transferred, he's essentially in the wind. He's gone. They could have killed him here, actually.
But I don't think that was their mission they were given.
Again,
It was to extract him.
The
that's
mission's to frame him.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they
That
kill
was
him?
prior. No,
in there.
that's the first with the drone strike. This mission is to extract him from the FBI. Take them where they're going because they're 3 minutes out from someplace.
No, they said that the extraction's part of the frame job of him escaping and then taking the 10 mil.
Then where were they taking him?
That's the whole
that's
thing
that's
that's being brought up now is what they just needed to kill him after they
Yeah.
got him out of the
Yeah.
police custody.
I mean, what they do is you kill him, right, and then you just dump his body in a place where they can't be found, because then it's over. Everything's pinned on Banning, and they get away scot free essentially.
Okay, so what I'm
What do you
seeing
think's
then,
their motive for keeping him alive, Springs?
I think Wade wants to talk to him, like a big bad thing where he's like, "It was me. Here's my."
I don't know. They could. If that were the case, I think they needed to set up a little bit more for that.
Well, best I got. These are Wade's guys, and they're not. They're shooting everyone else in their cars, making sure they're dead except Mike. They're capturing Mike, which I'm just like, okay, this is their mission from Wade. This is what Wade wants. So then I have it on Wade that Wade isn't like, kill him while he's restrained and then dump the body here. Maybe they're afraid that if they got Mike's blood in the car, then it's like, oh, he was injured, or
Like
something
drug
like that.
drug him with a lethal dose of something. There's not bloody ways of killing him. If it really is him just wanting to evil monologue to him, they needed to establish that.
Maybe I'm again just the best I have is that their mission was not to kill him. So when they're in the car and they're 3 minutes from extract, in my head, all they're going with is we can't kill him. But then that goes on to you, Crimson, saying they could just still render him unconscious.
Messy.
Yeah,
We just need one simple piece of information here, and it's absent.
yeah. I'm still at this being probably an issue.
I mean, even crazier is if they were taking him to go see Martin. And Martin's like, "This is my big plan to get you framed."
That
Because of
wouldn't make
so
sense.
That,
like
that makes even less sense. But yeah.
I'm just saying Wade's working for Martin. So if Martin wanted to tell it all to Mike, but
Well, and Wade to Martin, Martin doesn't know Wade knows about him. That why would he use the voice changer? He probably thinks he's still unknown to Wade, but Wade figured it out or kept records of
point.
just the interactions. Yeah, there's something here. Well, actually, there's a lack of something here, which makes something.
Oh, it was cool that Mike disassembled a like assault rifle to take out a I don't know if it was a spring loader piece or something to
Yeah, I think it's part of the
Firing
spring.
pin or something.
Yeah, I think it's the
Yeah.
firing pin or the spring. One of the two. I do think it's also really cool. That again, it's a nice way to show his competence. I just wish there was a little bit more of that in the film.
pick the lock.
Did
I'm
they
just looking at
do
my notes of everything we've touched. Go ahead.
the truck crashing? Is that just stupid, or what do you guys think about that?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think he escapes unless it crashes. It's a fucking semi that everyone's spotted.
Sure, but he clearly didn't plan to crash.
He didn't. He didn't plan to crash. So I view this as just another aspect of plot armor, because there's no way he escapes this unless it crashes, which prompts him to run out into the middle of nowhere.
Do you think if he put something on the gas from inside and jumped out, they would have kept
I'd take
chasing
it.
the semi until it crashed?
If he found a straightaway to do that, yeah, I think that would function even better than this.
Because what we have, I think, is probably the worst way he could have escaped. He accidentally crashes his vehicle without any like pressure. Like he's not getting hit by police cars and redirected into it. He's just by himself at this point, and he just drifts into it because it's dark and crashes. And then he runs out in the woods. So if he stopped the car running in the woods or Sprinks' pitch, which is better, of keeping the truck going with him jumping out earlier, is all better than him accidentally crashing the truck by himself.
Yeah, the crashing truck just shows like the semi is going faster than the police vehicles. Sure, the the back of it flipped where they got in a kerfuffle of the cars backing up and going back and forth until they could get down the road, which bought him some time,
I mean,
which I guess was
but he
enough
has 3
time for him
stars and the
to
choppers following him is the
crash.
problem.
True, but that just shows where the truck stopped.
Yeah.
There's someone the canopy of the trees is blocking actually seeing him down there, but from the road they can see where it stopped. So the time of the kerfuffle up the road at the fork where the cars are trying to get back on the road to follow him is the time for that flip to occur for him to get out, because as soon as he's running the cops are already stopped behind the semi and are following him. He's just like just out of reach, which I guess is to play into the whole thriller aspect and the suspense to build into that. Like, oh, he's so close. Oh, they're almost going to get him.
And then he gets away.
Yeah.
It's lucky that he got away, because I don't know how he escaped dogs. I think that's a very,
Well, the
very
dog
difficult
came
thing to do.
later.
Yeah.
I don't think they were
They
in
probably
those
didn't have them
police
on hand,
vehicles.
but it's still lucky.
Look at my next note of all these jumping arounds. I did like kind of touched earlier with the camera. With the training at the beginning of the movie, there was a camera shot that reminded me a little bit of like Hardcore Henry, of like the hand perspective of shooting. And there's another one of like fixed camera angles onto the truck itself as it's swerving back and forth on the road. I think there's one of
Yeah.
like a top down.
POV stuff.
Yeah, there's one on like the right hand side looking back of the truck while it's swerving, I think connected, and then one of like the top of the carrier bit when it hits the cop car. So I thought those were pretty good.
How do you guys feel about Helen? Think she's a good character? Just serviceable?
I was questioning if this is this version's of Lynn. If this movie's version
Just
of
because it's
Lynn.
a female?
Just another authoritative female lead kind of character taking place.
I think she's doing a
I
serviceable
think
job.
they're different characters.
Yeah, I think she did a serviceable job until she showed up with no backup to one of the primary
Wade, yeah, that
suspects. Then she just drove herself off a cliff. At that point, she deserved what happened. Just
Yeah,
didn't report
I thought she was.
anything. Didn't tell anything. All right, that's
I thought she was there to like question him, but the whole interaction's like she knew, like confident, 100%. Yeah, you're the guy. You're the guy.
yeah.
At
Oh, I
which
saw
point,
it as
yeah, she
like,
should have brought more.
we will see if your story lines up with my story. And as soon as Wade's like, oh, it won't line up in the shoot. I mean, it was. I like how drastic it got. Like, just serious, just like, yeah, it's not going to line up, and just shoot, shoot, shoot.
Yeah, jokey,
But
friendly banter to bang bang.
Yeah.
yeah, but the FBI should have been informed for backup.
Yeah. No. See, like I'm fine with her dying, but they would not have escaped the compound. Fucking FBI trucks would have just been bulldozing through their fences at that point. What I expected would have been a running battle in their compound, which would have been cool, but yeah, it's she was serviceable, and then she tanked at the end, right at the end.
Yeah, I did like her death. It was quick,
I am
not
what I
quite
am.
shocking, but abrupt. Liked it.
Is she better than Jax from London?
100%. She was far more interesting to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jax. Kind of comes out of nowhere. This character has a reason to be here.
Okay,
Pretty much.
happy.
I like the British guy, the like SAS guy,
Yeah,
more than um,
Oh,
Jax.
yeah. It's like
why am I blanking on the name? Shepard? No,
Will Davis.
Will.
Got the notes there. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about like the Call of Duty comparison.
Oh, Pierce. Yeah, Captain
Pierce, thank you. I just keep thinking soap. It's not freaking soap.
Soap, because you hear him screaming it.
Yeah.
the soap now.
That's pretty valid. I will say this: as far as a character choice to make, for me personally, subjectively, Clay was probably the funniest character they could have introduced to be Banning's father.
Oh,
Yeah,
just like the type of character or the casting?
The casting was good, but more so just the type of character, because he's like the complete opposite of like patriotic Banning.
Okay, I did not expect
brother's
Nick Nolte
watching.
to be in this movie.
Yeah,
That was a shock. Very distinct voice,
yes, very.
but I know it's not great to say, but every time, like, Nick Nolte just keeps reminding me of Spiderwick because he's the troll in that movie.
Well, you like that movie though. Why'd you say sorry? Sorry about it.
Well, I just feel like
Be
Nick
proud of your
Nolte is more
movies.
known and better things than Spiderwick.
Spiderwick Chronicles.
Yeah, the 2009 Nickelodeon movie.
That CG didn't look good then. I can't imagine what it looks like now.
No. That did have a stat cast though. Maybe it's just me. I didn't quite like that Clay, or Mike's dad, when he was firing off his bombs. They were about one explosion every like pull or every ignition. It was like one explosion. Yet when he informs Mike, "Hey, go pull the one down there," and he pulls it, it's like a whole carpet bomb of explosions that go off. And it's not just like another one.
Yeah, it's just a different thing. I would have preferred if he had like a switchboard
yeah.
instead of individual detonators that he keeps activating. At least that's what I'm imagining he's doing, because it just looks like he's using the same switch but doing different things.
Yeah, I also would have preferred the switchboard one, and then the last one could have been like a proper switch, because let's say that one's the it is the grand finale one, to be fair, but it's also the one where it's like, okay, we're getting overwhelmed. This is to defend like the last resort one. I was expecting the last one. I was expecting the last one to blow up the house.
Yeah.
I was not expecting them to stay there all night. That's something I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, that too.
Why weren't more men sent after that?
Why weren't...
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why, since the bombs are in all various angles and they're gone through the tunnel away from the house, and the bombs are located all around, why why 3 of the 4 directions are like single fire random, yet one direction for some reason gets such a larger explosion.
I
Well, that
Just
one
because
might
it's the
be.
last explosion to show, and it's like, oh, let's make it big for the scene of the movie. I think that's it. It felt movie moment to me. It didn't feel practical, like in world.
It might have been considered his flank. It's hard to tell where that is considered where he is in relation to the house. Because if he expected an enemy force to approach his house and then he had this tunnel, that could have been the back end of the tunnel. So that might have just been his back protection.
Yeah, this is. I can infer a few things for this, Sprinks, but I'm with you. There's nothing really concrete, so I probably won't have it as high as you do for movie moment damage. But I'm on that for damage because I can't keep track of why that's there. I can infer reasons, but I don't know. I don't have any in film. It's not
Okay.
the geography is not as obvious to me of the battlefield in this sequence as otherwise I would probably lean more heavily to like maybe it is protecting his flank, maybe it's protecting the tunnel. But
Okay. Even if it still is that direction, is to do the flank for it to be that size, it is movie moment that the last explosion is the biggest explosion.
And actually wipes out the rest of the guys.
Yeah. It's also it's the last one.
So yeah, there's certainly
there's a movie moment
movie
aspect to
moments
it, yeah.
happening.
There's a movie moment aspect to it without the support to it. So I agree.
Yeah. At like 1 hour and 2 minutes, again, estimately, by how these timestamps worked, what I got. Uh, Gerald Butler's audio as Mike running as like the explosions go off. For some reason, at that part, it peaks, like his audio gain like goes super high or something while being picked up. I don't know if that was to like match the sound of the explosion in the scene so he could still be audible, or they recorded at the same time and they couldn't change the audio. I don't know what it was. It was bad audio.
It might have raised him for the explosion, but I don't think it was that obvious though.
I don't know. And I don't know. It just sounded bad. It's the only instance in the movie where I heard that in the audio,
Mhm.
but I'm just guessing it was because of the explosions on set.
That's possible.
Because I suppose they chose to do that versus do an ADR.
Yeah, probably. Which once they heard the quality, I don't know why they wouldn't have asked for it, but maybe he wasn't available for one line to be
For
ADR.
recording, maybe.
He was knee deep in live action Stoke the Vast. I have no idea what he was doing after this.
Maybe.
Greenland 1.
I did get familiarity of another movie we've covered on the podcast where Mike used the traffic cams to send a message.
Does it start with an N?
It does, and ends with Astral Treasure Book of Secrets.
Yeah, there you go.
Also, doesn't
One
Mike
you
does this a
mentioned
couple
Riley
times.
last one, I think.
I did. You were
Interesting.
saying, Ryder?
Yeah. You brought this up in London, I think, right?
I said with Riley getting in the car, thinking he could drive, and he's on the wrong side because the wheel changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So funny. It's been that movie's been brought up twice within this franchise to some capacity.
Yeah, which one's better?
I guess we'll know by our ratings at the end. Who knows? One of you might have given this a 10 subjective.
Can you stop looking at my paper?
I'm sorry.
You gotta
Is
change.
that a 10 or
I gotta change.
9.5?
I
Kind
gotta,
of hard to tell.
gotta change my my answers now.
Something that bugged me was when they were talking about the Russia involvement, and it was with the vice president Kirby, um, and his underling. I don't know the guy's job, the one he was talking to. Maybe it was the speaker. Couldn't really tell. There was no name title sequence for this character, uh, but he brought up the idea of why would a hacker uh, put in $10 million? That's never happened before. I'm like, what? Why couldn't that have ever happened before? That a hacker would use money to frame somebody?
It's impossible.
It's
Hackers wouldn't do
impossible.
such a hackers
No
would
one would
never do such
ever
a thing.
put $10 million to frame somebody.
No, what they do, they take. They never give.
Yeah, so that was kind of laughably stupid to me.
I agree. I I appreciate that someone's pushing back against the VP because there's some other pieces of evidence that are now lining up that the story against Banning is not as clear cut. But
Kirby crazy.
it's pretty it's weak sauce. That's what it is.
Weak sauce. There we go. Yeah. You know what else is weak sauce, writer?
What?
The two guys breaking into Leah's house.
I couldn't agree more. So much for monitoring from the FBI.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So FBI monitored with what, one cop car outside?
That's
And
yeah.
there's one with all the
That
news
that would
something?
not be in. That would not happen. This is like she's the wife of the most notorious person in the States right now.
Yes. There'd be surveillance on all sides.
Not only that,
of the house.
I have reason to believe that there's no reason they would have let her leave. She would have not stayed in custody, but she would have stayed like somewhere safe and secure.
Oh, not the safety of her own home. Yeah.
There's definitely levels to that as well.
I wish they at least were in disguise or something to be like, oh, they deceived the FBI, something. But they're just Joe Schmoes
Yeah.
entering the back of a presumed secure and surveillance location.
Yeah, and we got to think. Granted, we don't know how much time has passed, but we got to think that Banning's dad teleported and got there somehow to
I did
prevent the
write that.
theft.
I was like, you got there quite quick.
Yeah.
I suppose this movie again doesn't do that time frame thing of showing the time, so
In
I
a way, it
guess
probably avoids a problem, but
I mean it does help. It's not like the thing where it's like, oh my gosh, all this time has passed, and like the first movie where it was like 7 hours where they did nothing.
yeah.
This one, it's like it's in the same day, but I don't know how much time has gone. They're not in the same cars, so Mike and Clay did split up, and Mike probably gave his address to Clay to
Well,
go there. And
well, okay. We know that Clay is in South Carolina. That's about an 8-hour drive to DC, 6 to 8 hour drive to DC, and I
but
don't
we
know
don't know
where.
where they shot
This
it.
is assuming Banning lives somewhere near DC, and I'm just gonna go with that because that's where his job is. So
Yeah,
That would make sense.
but we don't know how far they traveled to get to the gas station,
yeah, they could have.
other than they left when sun was up.
Yeah. I will also say I do. Before we get too far away from it, I really do love all the interactions Banning has with his dad, both inside the house before all the action stuff goes down, and afterwards. It really fleshes out their relationship, and there are two different perspectives on the world.
Yeah,
And
which is, I guess, interesting that Mike wasn't raised essentially with that because his dad left.
yeah, and I also kind of felt because we talked about the patriotism being too much and leaving a bad taste in your mouth in the last one, Springs. I kind of feel like Clay here is a great counterbalance to that.
Yes, for this movie, yes, about going against like Big Brother and being off the grid and how the wars affected him and all that, but how we've known through Mike in these movies of what he does for the country,
Yeah,
everything, and just like the counter to it. And I guess at a young age, as a kid, his dad left, and all maybe the information he retained was it was because of war, because of the government and all that. So which would lead a rebellious age of youth into Mike to get into that,
yeah.
possibly.
There's so much you can infer about their relationship and how it's written, and I am in complete agreement with that. I think it's for me, it's probably the strongest point of this film, as far as character dynamic goes.
Yeah.
You telling me David and
Yeah.
Banning don't have the best
No,
interactions?
unfortunately, they don't.
I mean, I would have loved for them to have some interactions, but kind of they have like two, I think, before everything goes wrong.
Martin and Trumbull? But Martin and Trumbull.
Martin.
Yeah, the VP.
Ah, yes.
Where he goes,
Yeah,
"Hey, Wade recorded all your black market deals he did." So, and he goes,
I mean,
"So you're joking, right?"
I do love.
It,
I don't like the scene. I think it's very weak of their relationship, but I do like that. The joke of I was thinking about just keeping you on to fuck with you. Like,
yeah,
I
I
did
like
that did get
Trumbull
a
in this
laugh.
scene. I did not like Kirby. Kirby was too stupid here.
Yeah, it did get a laugh out of
I
me.
just
But
like,
yeah,
you're joking. So we're fine, right? This is a big haha. Nope.
Yeah, that was a little too dumb on the Kirby part because he's the mastermind. He's the VP. He's supposed to be smart to some capacity.
yeah. Who's a better VP? The one from Red or this one?
I don't remember the one from Red. Unfortunately for me, Red 1 and Red 2 have blended. I don't know what scenes are from what movies.
Red One?
Yeah.
Isn't that a movie? Red
Yeah,
One?
I got it. I
Oh,
got the
sorry.
joke. Yeah.
I meant the Red and Red 2. Those
The-
movies are blended. Red 1 and Red 2.
And Red
I
Two? Wow.
can distinct those two movies. Sorry.
I
Yeah,
got,
I know which one has Dwayne Johnson and which one doesn't.
yeah, I got your
Okay.
joke, Crimson.
I mean,
I
they both have
appreciated
bald
that.
people. They both have Christmas in
Yeah, they
them,
do.
so it could be confusing.
I do.
But yeah, well, I guess my joke on referencing that is, the VP in Red is very much connected to like, I don't remember the villains in that film. I think it's something about I don't know why they're all. I don't remember the reason why they're all being killed because they're all new at arms contractor or something like that. But I need to rewatch this movie. That's what this is convincing me to do.
Good movie.
Yeah, I would say the VP
Wonder if
is a lot more active in this film comparatively to that film. But I think
Well, in Red, the VP is pretty much a puppet
yeah,
of the mercenary guy.
yeah.
This one, the VP is the mastermind of the. It's actually the opposite of Red. Actually, mercenary guys under control of the VP.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
had Clay described as a tunnel rat, and then we get the tunnel rat scene later. You're like, oh, that's
It's a nice
kind of
payoff.
cool. They
So
kind of set it up a little bit because, like Vietnam did have tunnel warfare and whatnot, so it was kind of cool for them to
Yeah, but
set that up.
Crimson Nam is just Iraq, and Iraq is just the
War is war.
they want. They're all the same.
It is to me.
See it in your eyes.
War never changes. I liked Mike infiltrating the hospital. His little calm chaos.
Shooter at the wherever. Gunman over there.
Gunman and then shooter and
Yeah, I think it was good. I'm glad that the entire Secret Service didn't just go to that end of the building. There was still security for Trumbull, so they weren't 100% incompetent. Just
yeah,
partially.
Bill was still there.
I mean, I would say the Secret Service is still pretty incompetent because they all get wiped pretty
Yes.
easily. But at least it's not like they're still running into gunfire. But
But at least this one had dust and debris that they can't see through.
that's true.
Unlike at the White
They
House where they
could.
just run through the door into turrets.
Hey guys, let's check out. Let's look out the window first, guys. I don't know. It just might be a strategy we could use before we all throw ourselves to death.
Yikes.
I agree.
So Mike's whole plan was just to talk to David.
Yeah. He knew Trumbull was in trouble, and the direct approach here was his option for that, I guess. And him turning himself in was kind of proof how serious he was. If he did it over the phone, it probably wouldn't have mattered. Turning himself in had
Do
weight.
you
He
think
got
Mike's
us.
plan? What do you think Mike's plan would have been if Bill wasn't there?
Fail. I don't know.
Billy or
Yeah, sorry, Billy.
uh
If he didn't have a hostage.
yeah, if there was no hostage, Granted, that makes the Secret Service even more incompetent, so I'd have a world building issue, but it makes the plan even harder. Because he wants to get a face to face audience, so.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't think Mike's
And-
the one to do like elevators open and then he just be taken down. I think he'd maybe do emergency stop, go through the escape hatch, something like that to get through.
And he knows the Secret Service procedures, so he knows there'd be a manned guy at the elevator no matter what.
Oh, that could
So
be it too. He did relay that to
I,
Mike.
I would have issues if there was nobody at the door or the elevator.
I suppose that's the workaround to it then. Okay.
It's been brought up and shown through the mention of bowls. You got the origami bowl. You got the father saying old bowl, young bowl, Trumbull. I don't, and then later it's lions on the rooftop. I don't see the full
Oh, yeah,
connections to
lions from
these
the beginning.
things.
No, the lines from the beginning. Like the when they have a talk
Yeah, Wade
outside.
called them lines.
Yeah, Wade called them both lions at the beginning when they were sitting outside of his house. He's like,
No,
because he was
not
saying, "I'm
that
not
I
going to take
guess.
the director's job." It's like, I knew it when I first saw you. You're not ready for it. We're both lions. So that has a through line. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the bull connection?
I don't know. Bowls are just present. I don't know why he made an origami bowl.
Yeah, I don't
To
know.
give us a prop for the end of the podcast to discuss, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
From Insight.
well. Maybe. But yeah, the bowl thing, I don't understand the connection.
Yeah. My best interpretation of why it's a bull is because Bannon could be a little bit bullheaded in his determination, and as he's describing the story with Banning, I think it relates to that sort of like stubbornness. That's my best faith interpretation of it, but I don't think it for the film, I think it would have been more thematic if it was a lion.
Yeah, he just never learned how to fold an origami lion, I guess.
Suppose maybe that's a little tougher.
Probably with that mane and everything.
Oh my gosh, but Wade has said the whole time he's been a lion. He did lie to
Oh my
Mike.
gosh.
Oh
It was
my
right there under our
God.
noses.
Well, Mike even
Wild.
joked about having like a dinner and lying to each other. So
Oh my
perfect.
gosh. It's the main thing.
Lying.
Sorry. I'm feeling the weight of the eye roll from the audience.
There is a. I mean, okay. Well, to save the audience, then I'll jump to back to where Clay saves Leia and Lynn. I do. I wish there was a bit more to Clay's like proof, I guess. But I do like that he is. But I also like the fact that he's almost empty-handed because obviously he's an estranged like parent. And I do like
No,
that Leia's suspicious of him at first. I just kind of wish I don't know what I would have wanted, but I wish there was more proof from uh, Clay, even though I like the fact that it's empty-handed because he's been an estranged parent.
yeah, I quite like it. I think the only addition maybe is him opening a wallet for a photo of him as a baby or a family photo or something more physical proof. Maybe that would be. But as is, I think the bare minimum nature of knowing his full name, where he was born, and the mom had some impact behind it. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Springs.
No, not really. No, I kind of, yeah.
Something
Sorry, I'm
I
still
wasn't.
yeah.
Okay. Are you done? I'll move to something.
No, you go ahead. Sorry, I was just trying to piece together things more and just I don't get the bull thing.
Oh, I got you puzzled with it.
Yeah.
Well, we've still got time to think about it. Uh, I'm not a fan of how Wade found Clay and Mike in the woods. The hacker guy hacked into the Secret Service and found Mike's search history.
So dumb.
So lazy.
So
So
dumb.
boring.
Yeah.
Yep, I just hacked in the Secret Service and found a search history. It's been looking at the woods for the past 5 years. Yeah. Okay. Yes, that works. I don't know what I would have done because the dad's been off the grid forever, but that just felt so lackluster and cheap.
I find it more dumb on Mike keeping that info.
I mean, it's a Secret Service computer. I'm sure they have to keep records of every search. So I'd probably be suspicious if he deletes his history. So I don't really have a problem with the Secret Service computers having his history. It's just how lazy it felt implementing it. Just the hacker's like, "Yep, I got it."
Well, Crimson can't be the hacker. It's not the
It
hacker.
seems like it seems like something that would be hardlined. Like you have to hack into the computer, not offsite, like
Is
directly
it
into the server or something.
is it a no, well, okay. I'll wait till you guys are done with that topic because I think I'm going to change my comment. I'm going to change the topic. Sorry.
I'm pretty much done with it.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike or not Martin is still secretive with the voice change or whatever to Wade, so they wouldn't know if Martin was connected via that to give them the information.
Hmm.
Like Wade's never like, oh, the guy we're talking to is on the inside of the White House. Like that's never relayed.
I'm going to jump to when President Trumbull wakes up and they question him. Is it like a. It feels like it's a setup that he doesn't remember that Banning saved his life, but they don't do anything with it because Trumbull decides to trust him anyway. And I feel like there's nothing really comes of that until Banning apologizes at the end. I don't know. It feels like wasted potential for drama. Um, and in either case, either he remembers Banning saved him, which contradicts everyone's story, which is would be more reason as to why David would grant Banning an audience. Um, because the president has contradicted the story he's been told up until this point. And there, or the opposite, where the president doesn't trust him but is forced to. So I feel like they don't do anything with the fact that he doesn't remember what happened or does remember what happened.
Yeah, it kind of is unfortunate because all we really get out of him when he wakes up is he just asks for more information. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? There's never him saying, "Oh, I trust Banning 100%. He's been with me through and through. I don't believe he'd betray us like that." There's no batting for Banning. He's just fishing for info, which does seem a little absent considering how much he's been through with Banning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Though the being skeptical is fine because he did just come out of a coma. He's a little um,
disoriented.
disoriented. Thank you. I was going to say incognizant, and that's not the right word. Yes, disoriented.
Yeah, I'm. So there's levels that they could play with for this, and I just don't feel like they do anything. Like they do the worst option, which is they do nothing other than him asking for information. Him getting a reaction to being told that Banning's a traitor would be something interesting for us to see, and him either denying it or listening to the evidence and like, you know, because before he went under, he had that conversation about trust with Banning. He's like, I'm not sure who to trust anymore, and that would have been. I feel like there's so much that could be done with that because that's one of the big through lines of the film, and that it just feels dropped because they don't play around with it.
Yes,
It
they
is.
don't actually really play on Trumbull fully trusting into Mike when even Mike enters the room. He just goes, "Yep," unhandcuff him, listen to what he says. Like, there's no like proof of check that really goes through,
And we
which
could,
kind of fall.
yeah.
It just kind of falls onto Trumbull not fully believing everyone in that room or the presence, which he does state to Mike earlier, as you said, where it's like, I don't know who to trust. So even in that room, he doesn't know who to trust. But him even saying that to Mike earlier while fishing kind of states that the one he does trust is Mike to tell. So when Mike is giving information in the room, I guess it corresponds to make sense that Trumbull would trust Mike out of anyone else.
Yeah. in that regards.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's the only reading of the scene I have, but I still feel like there's just something missing here in this step.
It's too quick.
Yeah, the check I think would help. Um, like if they had a very very brief conversation where the president was like, "You lied to me about this. Like, why didn't you tell me about your state of mind?" Because we get that at the end of the film, but we could set that up here. Banning could acknowledge it, apologize, and say, "But can we have this conversation later? Right now, your life is in danger." At least it's acknowledged there's a check there, or
It,
Banning confesses that to him first, or like right
yeah,
out to try and earn his trust.
it would have been a nice tongue in cheek or cute of while they're fishing, bring up the 70-pound mackerel from the previous movie, which was the reason or code to bring up trust with Mike. And then in this, they either have that talk. It's like, so you think you'll get a 70-pound mackerel? And he goes, well, Jackal River or whatever. And then that leads into a trust later. So like that is the connection between the two characters.
That would work brilliantly as far as I'm
It would
concerned.
make it feel more like this is a continuation of a third film in a franchise.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also a sucker for the thoughtful echo. Like that's one of my favorite motifs in storytelling. So like that would definitely go into my subjective a lot.
Yes, I did also. I think I read in like facts. It didn't seem like a big fact to write down, but all three movies in this franchise were all distributed by a different produce company, production company.
Yes, I did
So it
notice
does
that
feel
at the
like
beginning of
all
this
three
film.
weren't written in unison together as a trilogy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure the background behind it. I just know they're up for a fourth if the script is good. Them being Gerard Butler and the original creator guy.
and Morgan Freeman's in it for the money, so
If they pay them, yeah.
Yeah, he's still around to do it. Uh, so Kirby is in the White House. I couldn't tell if it was the Oval Office or not, but he's on the phone talking treason talk.
Oh my god, I wanted to. I put my
Yeah,
head in my
I
hands
think it was
during
the
that
Oval
scene.
Office.
I had to pause. I had to physically pause the movie and put my head in my hands for a minute.
yeah, I don't know what that was. That was terrible. And I acknowledge it'd be hard as a vice president to avoid people overhearing you, but well, actually, at this point, you'd be president, even harder. So it's ridiculous. Actually, it's ridiculous. He's doing trader talk over the phone in the White
Yeah,
House
even worse.
Oval
I
Office.
mean, it's not like it's his cell phone, right? Like it's not the private like
It's
landline that's in his house.
no,
In the,
no.
in the
It's a
office,
cell
sorry.
phone that is connected via some kind of distortion, not just for voice, but like receiver end. Wade has a line about the call coming through that makes it like it's untraceable or something.
Secure line, but he's not in a secure room. In
No.
essence, of like, I'm sure the Oval Office has
Well,
some sort of way to listen in or
no, it
something.
should. Especially this one after the events of Olympus.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna take a quick scan
the
through my
time's fine, the
notes.
place isn't.
Yeah. Maybe she was in the bathroom or something.
I liked the worriment of Mike knowing something's going to happen, but not how it's going to happen. Like, oh, maybe they've already infiltrated on the inside of our men. Make sure all sniper teams are checked or double checked, and then it's found out of like a system hack or like technology going down, which should already be stated. I mean, it does tip Mike off to then ask like, hey, check if we've been hacked and anything's been bypassed.
Yeah, I'm all
Being that like the
I'm
hacker has been kind of stated, but
yeah, I'm I'm annoyed that he didn't get his vest back once he's helping, because it leads into like the tension of the fight later. He has to steal a vest off a bad guy essentially,
Yeah.
because he gives up a vest for the president, and that bugged me because I'm like, I don't know why he just didn't keep his vest. He didn't get his
Well,
vest
there
back
was only
after.
2 vests left.
Yeah,
Not
there's
two
only
vests
2
left.
vests. Where'd the other one go?
Where's the one he's
Not to
currently?
Banning.
Yeah.
Yeah, one's to the president and one's to not Banning. That's what I got
It
out of
probably
that.
went to David
Maybe.
because I think
He's
David was in a
director in
suit,
charge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
yeah.
he has a vest on
David
later.
take a vest. We see him. I think put it on during that sequence.
So it makes sense for those two to get it, but it doesn't make sense that there's only two vests, I think.
Yeah. I also did the guy that he put in the trunk survive, or did he go down with the hospital? Because I feel like
Don't know. I don't know where that car was located from the explosion.
yeah. The overhead shot of the hospital looked pretty good. The shot of the debris falling around the characters less good, but not good.
That's good. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was bad.
of that statement, I drop it a little more than you in what you just said. I think the explosion in the hospital was okay. It didn't look great. The rubble did look very blocky
In the overhead shot, I
of the
do think
pieces
that
breaking.
overhead shot I think looked good. But I would say
I think the smoke really helped. Like the dust and everything coming off to cover a lot of the actual heavy pieces of the building falling apart to cover
yeah,
it, I think
that's
very much
probably
helped that.
that's probably a fair.
Because the building looked like it was falling apart like ice to me. Like it cracked in chunks and the chunks just fell.
I mean, that's how buildings collapse typically. But
True, but there should
I,
be, I think, more rubble or more um, pieces hitting other
it's
pieces
it's
and
it's
breaking.
it's a weird way. Okay, my issue with the explosion is not. My issue with the way the hospital collapses is that it didn't collapse the right way that they were setting up in the film because it collapsed like it was a controlled demolition rather than a fucking explosion.
Yeah, it
Fell
looked a
inward
little
instead of
more.
blowing outwards.
It looked a little more like a Lego set kind of breaking, where the
Yeah.
pieces aren't going to break, but the whole thing's breaking, versus like a sandcastle,
Yeah, it's a
where
very
you have the
good.
floor and it
It's a
actually comes
very
up.
good hospital, like CGI hospital destruction. If it was a controlled demolition, kind of collapsing in on itself, but the problem is there was an explosion, so those a lot of those
From
pieces would have uh
yeah, from the base up.
yeah, we would have seen like the base of the hospital blow outwards before it starts collapsing in.
And more fire.
Probably for a more film aesthetic, yes, there would be more fire.
But from the explosion being all the oxygen has been ignited, there'd be more orange glow of flame throughout the building collapse.
Well, not for long, because it
Not
would
for
ignite
long,
and
no.
go out. And nothing's really catching fire.
But I think the light of the fire traveling through the, I don't know, channels of oxygen up the floors should have had more of a flash of flame through the windows of the building being demolished. Because it did feel like that kind of controlled demolition, as Ryder puts it, where it's just like one explosion crumble.
Um, yes, I agree with that. It doesn't really depict the fire within the building. Um, but visually, I think it actually looks pretty good. Uh, Excluding anything that has to do with people in front of it, because that all looks doo doo. Worst looking
Yeah.
stuff in the trilogy.
Yeah, I think that is probably the worst looking CG in the trilogy, or at least the worst green
Ooh.
screen effect.
Ooh.
Trying to think of what's worse than that.
That has caused me now to go back to the movie and look at it.
It's specifically the part where it's just a wall of like dust and debris behind them while they're getting into the new building.
Hold
That
on.
part looks horrendous.
The audience will see it soon.
Building explodes, falls down. Yeah, that is a lot of smoke going out. Pieces are very crumbly. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I see it.
I
They
dropped.
are hobbling. They're not running.
Yeah,
No, it's bad.
yeah. I also, yeah. It's the audience will
That
also
is
be
green
getting a
screen.
yeah. The audience will also be getting a picture
Yes,
of that. But
I
it's
okay. I can that we can put that on Instagram too. That is bad green screen. That is what I can
Yeah,
go with that. That
that,
is not
that
I think the worst CGI in the franchise. I still think I have that on the Canadian president's car exploding in London has fallen.
but yeah, this might be the worst. I guess CGE computer
and green
graphics
screen
effect.
still effects.
Yeah, computer graphics effect. If we are going to be nitpicky about it, so I would say worst CGE, I guess, because that's easily I think the worst look in the trilogy with that green screen.
Okay. Looking, being popcorn, anything that's gone past. I do really like the build of tension they do when they're defending the door, and Mike goes, "Okay, you guys, defend this with your life. I'm gonna run off." And when he runs off, it's the build of suspense into the movie of just going to the different soldiers and the little opening of the look and just like the building of the edge of your seat kind of feel before Wade and his men come in.
Yeah, this was a very good build into the tension. I don't really get there wasn't much of that in this film, which is why I think this is also more effective here because they were pretty restrained on it in other parts of the film. Um, I would say uh, kudos to the four SWAT guys that were just pretty much left to be a decoy. Because they're not even protecting the president. They're in another room. But I do
Yeah,
love.
but it's a really good distraction.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It absolutely draws the attention. Like as Wade says, all warfare is a matter of deception, and that's kind of true. Um, so I do like the mental games that he and Mike. It's implied that he and Mike have in this scene because uh, they have that discussion earlier in the film, so it's a nice payoff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did you write down all their names, Springs?
No, I did not. No,
They killed Menendez.
After London has fallen, I did not write down people's names, and this movie did not do the lower thirds of giving people's names.
Yeah,
That would have been funny if it just popped up like someone's name and then they just get shot in the head, and the name fades off.
that would be
That would have
be
been
funny.
pretty good. I want that for like a parody. That would be pretty good for a parody.
I do think the editing is also really good with this scene of going from like the tactical call outs of Wade's team uh, attacking the SWAT and then Mike's one man army
It does
interlinked.
feel more tactical. Yeah. Uh, I do.
Cutting in, looking at the president as the as Wayne's team gets closer and closer. They did do a good job making it feel intense.
Yeah.
And then me questioning like how competent is David? How many guys can David take out? Is it going to be a thing where it's like Wade is the last one to enter and gets the shot on David and violently just shoots him in the head before going to the president or something? Like
Yeah.
let it build up there.
I do. I like that Wade intercepts like the first team that was coming to help, but it feels like a wasted time because one, it just dumbs down everybody coming to help the president again. But two, it also feels like they should be focused on just getting to the president at this point. So it feels tactical, but it feels needlessly tactical. Does that make sense?
Well, I would agree if he went in expecting to be a suicide mission, but he had a exit strategy, so he wasn't expecting this to be a suicide run. If it was a suicide run, I could see him just go for the president at all costs. We can be loose with it. Uh, but he wants to survive this, so I don't have a problem with him being extra clear and taking out the guys in the back before going for the president.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just checking. It seems like something that they would do. So
Okay, yeah. No, I think it was pretty well done.
I think the
Though
actions.
the SWAT, well, I do think the SWAT guys should have interchanged their firing because it did
Yeah,
seem like all four shot at the same time and then went all down to duck and reload versus like two at a time, and then the other two pop up while the other two reload, so it's constant like
Yeah.
fire. So the other, but
Yeah, I do wish that fight was more tactical, but I do appreciate the Banning's one-man army fight in the hallway. That felt pretty good and satisfying because we haven't seen him do much of this, like, properly in the film.
yeah, when he throws a smoke grenade and then he hides in like the supply closet to get the guy in the head, and
Yeah.
that was really cool.
And also he's taking gear off the body, so he's like looting as he goes. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how the guy that was down got a shot at him too,
Yeah.
because he didn't double tap him.
Yeah, it did feel a little video gamey.
A bit, yeah. But
And I bring it up now because of the quote unquote final boss fight.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what it is.
it
It
is.
felt very much boss arena.
Yeah. Man tanked a grenade and got up those stairs fucking quick.
He
Oh,
took that like a champ.
So plot armor for Banning that he
It's a good thing that rifle was outfitted with a grenade launcher.
Yep.
Lucky him.
It's that thing that pisses me off in COD all the time. Or used to piss me off in COD.
And then that weapon was functional after being that close as well to a grenade going off.
Yeah.
Also, they didn't have a sound effect of it firing. You just had the helicopter blow up.
Yeah. That
You didn't hear the
pop.
dunk or whatever that noise. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
So
Also, it did play it off like an incendiary grenade, right? There was an actual like explosion to the helicopter. It just kind of went up in flames.
It's weird, right? So what it looks like to me is like it was an incendiary grenade that hit the helicopter and then it detonated the ammo in the helicopter, which I think could work, but that was just stretching even for me.
Okay, that's what it looked like. Because the helicopter was stationed, it didn't like move like from an impact, and the glass didn't like shatter. It was just flames.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Just flat out.
Yeah, which isn't wild to say that that assault rifle is outfitted with an incendiary grenade. That's fine. They don't have to be impact grenades at all times.
Yeah, it's not consistent with damage that was shown. That's in one shot and then damage the next shot.
Yeah.
do you guys? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, with that rifle that was firing what seemed like payload rifle rounds, by the size of the rifle and it needing to be, I guess, anchored to the chopper while it was airborne, that could go to the rounds being more explosive by their size, but they didn't seem to be explosive rounds upon contact when they're firing into the building at Mike.
Yeah, to quote another version of Lance Riddick, they just appear to be armor piercing.
Yeah, good thing they can't aim.
Well, it's true. I mean, well, we know they couldn't aim. That was set up during the opening sequence for the training.
Yeah. Who do you think these guys are? Secret Service?
Yeah,
No, they're better.
Yeah, exactly. They're not
They
throwing
actually get to
themselves
shoot their
into
guns.
bullets. Yeah, they're not throwing themselves into bullets. They have to actually aim. You know.
Well, one of them throws himself into a bullet to protect the president accidentally.
Sam.
Yeah, Sam.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I do.
You guys.
Well, you first.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think Wade stuck around to check if Mike was dead, or hoping he would have a confrontation, like a better fight than just a grenade killing him?
Oh, his hesitation.
Yeah.
I
was half thinking that was his emotions getting to him.
I'm kind of leaning.
That's an option.
I'm kind of leaning that way. I think he wanted to see if Mike was actually dead and the emotions were getting to him. I think that those are the primary reasons he stayed. It's still convenient that he stayed because this is supposed to be I am what I am, just shot an FBI agent, no holds bar. But it is Mike, and they do have enough between them thanks to the openings of this film where he's like eating with his family. Like there is a relationship there. So I'm kind of 50-50 on it because it's a movie moment, but it's not entirely absent of setup. I just feel like I wish there was more reason for him to want to stay.
Big movie moment is him behind cover and then coming out walking to look at him.
Yeah.
Part of me just wanted him to get shot in the head because he came out of cover.
Yeah.
But I guess my reading of it, I'm more leaning that he was expecting a bigger fight out of Mike to not
Is
just
that
die in a hallway with a grenade.
yeah, you bringing that up, Crimson, was that movie moment
Oh,
of
that's
being the perspective
100%.
on
That
Wade
was him expecting
hiding
a monologue with his friend instead of a fighting.
no, onto the audience perspective of Wade hiding and then stepping around? Is that to like build up like, oh my god, who did this? Who is this to the audience? And then it shows that it's Mike.
No, I mean we know it's Mike. I think it's just to get his reaction of what just happened. Instead of just immediately turning to shoot and start combat, we get to see Wade's reaction to what just happened.
I think what I would change for this is that having Wade stay by the door, he's like, I'll cover you. So he's waiting armed and ready at the door. So he's still waiting once that fight, maybe he's still expecting his friend. And he's maybe the emotions getting to him a little bit. And then once his the other guy gets to the chopper, that's when he gets waved to run back and the guy in the chopper quote unquote covers for him. Um and then I think the rest can play out as normal. I think that might have helped lean into the he wants a fight a little bit, but
Because I mean that is what he talked about before when Mike was asking, "Why you do this for money?" No, it's for the thrill. Kind of, you're still doing this. So I kind of want to do something along those lines. So I think that would feed into the ending of him getting a good fight in.
Maybe. I mean, their fight was still fine. I think.
Yeah, it was good. The gunshot next to the head causing the deafness, which would last longer, but it's a movie. You kind of need to hear them talk, I guess. But it was nice to still have the ringing deafness sound effect going on.
Yeah. The stab to the artery. I'm guessing because that was a steady flow of blood
oh
loss.
I
yeah.
forgot what that's called. That's got a name. That spot to stab. I don't
Oh, I think
recall.
it's lethal.
Well, yes, it is. Good one.
Good one. Yeah. I would say before like I actually do like the wide shot of the gunfight where we can see them moving across the battlefield cuz that to me felt like it's an homage to what like an overview of a training simulation would look like to cameras that could see and things like that. So I think it's also
Yeah,
a
kind of.
subtle callback to the beginning. And you brought it up, Springs. I really love the ringing in the ears when Wade fires his last bullet, knowing that he's not going to hit him, but just to try to disorient him.
Yeah, and it goes from the guns to then the knife fight
Yeah.
to rely on it. It reminded me a little bit of Leon versus Jack Krauser, a bit of being trained
Where's the
together.
quick time?
Well, I mean, as I said, it looked like a video game arena.
Yeah, I mean, he pulled out Kang's throat grab during the fight too. Still remembers it.
Does the Have Fallen have tie-in video games?
Honestly,
It's a little beyond its time. I think that was like the early 2000s
Yeah,
where everything got a game.
yeah. I'm gonna guess no.
all the good movie adaptation games happened in the early 2000s. Don't think any good ones have come
Yeah,
after 2010. I guess the Lego Lord of the Rings would count, right? I guess that would count.
Alien
yeah.
Isolation,
That's
kind
not
of.
really based off a movie
That's
though.
not a
That's
no.
that's a
That's
that's a based off a
a little
How
franchise.
many
franchise
how many
kind of
movie
movie.
games actually had anything to do with the plots of the movies? Come on.
Oh,
Look at the
the Lord
Rings
of the Rings
certainly did.
ones were fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the license games, like the Shrek game, right? That I haven't played it, but that's
I
like mini games,
I
isn't it?
remember enjoying the Kung Fu Panda license game. That was pretty decent. The Transformers one too was decent, though that one didn't follow the plot at all.
Yeah, the
Uh,
X-Men Origins Wolverine game is really fun, but it adds so much just fluff that is not in that movie.
Yeah, strictly
To make the
speaking,
game longer.
strictly speaking, I think, funny enough, Lord of the Rings might have the best like movie adaptation games in terms of following the film's story, but also
Narnia. That's
adding
Caspian.
bits and pieces to it.
No.
Definitely not. I've played I remember playing the Narnia games. I enjoyed them, but they were definitely not following the films. I played the Pirates of the
First one
Caribbean
was
ones too.
more.
First one more so,
But
yes.
it was just like, here's the Ice Witches bad guys. They're going to be throughout the whole movie. That was pretty much the big change.
Just because games cost so much to make now, by the time the games would come out, the movie's no longer relevant.
Yeah. Case in point's probably Ubisoft's Avatar, but at least that one's going to be getting a yearly release or whatever.
Yeah, just like the movies.
Just like the movies. No. Well, what they're doing is they're adding DLC for each movie.
Oh,
And it's funny because
what's not what's not adding DLC? It's a little unfortunate, but no one knows.
No.
Listening.
The Has Fallen movies.
I mean, there might be a fourth. You don't know.
I don't, but it did seem like, what was it, 2013, 16, and 19? So they were like 3-year tracks. There should have been one in 2022. Didn't come out.
Yeah. If they do it at this point, if they do
though.
Yeah, if they do another Has Fallen trilogy, it's not going to be with Banning, I think. It's not going to be Burt Butler. He might cameo, but I don't think he's going to be the main character.
It should be Connor. It should be Connor, but we never get we should get like a code name, and the whole thing goes until the very end, and then he meets up with Gerald Butler. He's like an older war guy. Kind of do like a Gears of War 4.
I could see that.
Mike Banning's president in the new one.
God, no. Banning would not.
Doubtful.
I don't think Banning would even want to run.
No.
He was
barely resigning in the last movie.
He barely accepted.
He did resign in this movie.
He barely accepted being put in the position of director in this one.
He'd be the president, and Connor would be his head of security. It's perfect. And then Connor's protecting him.
And then they'll talk about Ben, but they'll never show him.
Well, yeah, because Connor's going to have a sob story about his dad dying or something, and he's got no parents now.
Yeah.
And that Mike's his only father figure left.
There'll be a flashback de-aging scene with him and his mom to give more story on her from the first movie.
We just wrote the whole movie.
Not well. I don't know. We didn't say any bad guy, so.
No.
You know what? No, it's a romantic drama. There is no bad guy.
That's a shit.
Connor turns into the new John McClane.
Could be a tie into the Ugly Truth movie, with what's her face.
Oh, maybe. And Ryder, I heard what you said. I don't want this to be John McClane. That was the first movie. The first movie took too much from Die
Hard. I know. That was a joke.
Back to the movie.
Yeah.
Something that did annoy me was during the helicopter part with the large weapon shooting through the window. Why aren't the police shooting that helicopter?
I was going to ask.
Nothing happening.
The president's in danger here. We're supposed to be near DC. I'm going to be honest. An F-35 would have blown that shit out of the sky by now. There is no way that helicopter's airborne at all for longer than
came at the end.
Yeah.
Came at the end after we took out. Wade's dead.
We did nothing. We're here now. Like, yes, you are.
Yeah.
This is so lame.
Marine One's 30 minutes out.
So awful.
Why is it 30 minutes away? He's been at the hospital for a good amount of time for them to have had one landed closer.
It was in London. It takes a while.
Ugh, I guess so.
I will say, I do like that once Wade gets stabbed in the artery, he just stops. He's like, all right, we're done. I'm just going to...
this is done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a sucker for it. They're both just sit down while he dies, and they just kind of look on together and have their last moments as comrades rather than adversaries. It's a motif I tend to like in writing. I am kind of neutral feeling about it here in terms of personal feeling, but I do think they objectively they do a good job of it.
It makes sense to what Wade has been through this whole movie, that in this last fight it's whoever gets the killing blow on the other.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he realizes he's going to die now, that he's done fighting. And
Yeah.
he sits. It's not like, oh, if I'm going out, you're going out with me, and he like continues and to fight Mike. Or he's just like, you got me, you got the upper hand. Good job.
Yeah.
So, and that does play into, I guess, his previous hesitation with Mike of being like, oh, being emotionally attached, of like, oh man, did I just kill him kind of thing, to here. So there's this like respect to one another throughout.
Yeah. I do like that they're consistent with that respect. Um, like he doesn't even like when he calls in on the phone, he's not as disrespectful as he normally is to when he's trying to intimidate the bad guy. He's still being intimidating and angry, but it's uh more controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite part of the movie because going into this, there was like two big things I remembered, and that was the end here with the fight on the roof and the bombs in the forest. And then I had a slight memory of the opening of the training. Everything else I didn't really remember. And this last part, I'm with you, Ryder, where like friends turned enemy sit down moments at the end. I usually like a lot.
Yeah.
Crimson, I am
Because all the
shocked you don't
artificial
remember the last scene
barriers
of
are
this
gone.
movie.
I mean, I remember it now.
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't
but I
remember
just
that
feel like
whatsoever.
that's something you wouldn't forget.
You'd think so, but it did. My brain wiped it.
Sorry, you were. I only caught the part of your thought. Normally, you like those moments where you're saying you kind of share the same thing with this one with me, where
Yeah. Um, where the friends turn foes have a sit down at the end of whatever the conflict may be. I'm a sucker for those. And I did like it here. It would be cool if their dynamics were established through the trilogy and not just this one movie.
oh yeah,
But
if they
I
had been
felt
a
enough in it.
yeah, I felt the weight of it. I personally like I didn't cry or anything to it. I didn't.
No.
So I guess Lola says I liked it enough to be invested in what was going on, but it wasn't enough for me to like for it to hit hard at home for me.
If
Um,
Wade was here from the first movie, I'd definitely have more of an emotional connection.
oh, absolutely. If Wade was here from the
Certainly.
opening of the
Yeah.
movie, this would be so much more meaningful because what if Wade was one of the the officers outside the White House, like my friend's in there. I want to get to him. There could be that level of like he's still in service with the army at that point. He could have been the general in charge before he went private
Yeah.
sector.
And then they
Um,
always have this like little banter of like, you always have all the fun without me.
yeah,
This
there,
movie, it's like, hey, have the fun without me. Or like being like more
that would have been like,
antagonistic to that.
yeah, that would absolutely, we're just retroactively improving this trilogy. If they ever remake this trilogy, they should just take some of our suggestions.
I don't think it should be,
Well,
yeah, reboot it.
Yeah.
I don't know, a remake is what I want.
Well,
it comes down to how much they envisioned anyhow. I don't know if they expected to get a trilogy when the
yeah,
first one was
I
made.
don't think so.
I don't think they expected a trilogy. Um, I do think there should have been more planning once they got a second one, though. Once they realized, oh, we could do another one. I feel like they should have started making better plans for the future.
I agree. So even though the first movie was Mike being like, oh man, I'm glad I'm back. I don't want that desk job anymore. And then the second movie of, I was going to resign, but no, I'm in it. To the third movie of, hey, I resigned. Well, here's the director position. All right, I'm back in it.
Uh huh. What's the
Is
point?
the I'm just saying that pattern stuck.
Yes.
Yeah, it is a nice
Very job
through line.
oriented.
I'll touch a little bit on, I guess, as we're kind of winding our way through to the end here. I really like the Clay's dynamic with Lay, where she's like tells him that not to leave, and he's like, I'm not gonna try to fuck this shit up. I really like that. I also like that he was initially going to get an RV so he doesn't intrude on their life to show Clay is trying to be respectful but also want to stick around, but they invite him to stay in their house. I think that's a very very nice way to
Strong book.
conclude the story with Clay.
Almost conclude. Then they
Almost
gotta
conclude.
unscrew their heads.
Yes, that was a unexpected. It's just
I don't
bit.
understand it. Why?
It's definitely
It's a great
funny.
mid-credit scene.
It's definitely funny. Um, I've always wanted to do what they're doing in that, which is take a. It's called an isolation chamber or whatever. I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, deprivation tank.
Deprivation tank. I've always wanted to do that. And I do think it's funny, but I
Oh, it is funny. The lights go out and they freak out. Like, nope, nope, we're done with this.
they're too paranoid for that shit.
Can't see what's going on.
I did not expect going into this that this movie I would see Nick Nolte shirtless.
No,
I
but
would
you
have never
didn't
guessed
expect
that.
him in it at all.
I didn't. I didn't expect Lance Reddick in this movie.
I didn't remember him in this, so that was actually a surprise.
I didn't expect the actress swap out for Leia.
No, neither did
Yeah.
I. I don't know why.
From the girl
So
from Covert
weird.
Affairs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, who? Are you
The
talking about Piper Perabo?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah. The
She's-
older sister from the Cheaper by the Dozen movies?
that's also true. The one that goes prego.
Or the girlfriend in the Prestige?
Kind of
Yeah,
more important one to remember, to be honest. But
I'm the
Just
TV
a
guy.
for me. But
I'm a TV guy, so Covert
yeah,
Affairs.
no, Crimson would definitely get Cheaper by the Dozen over Prestige.
I mean, I remember Prestige pretty well. She nodded, allowing that nod. I won't say much more.
yeah, I do like that President Trumbull confronts Banning at the end. Is like when Banning finally opens up about being honest, Trumbull voices his disappointment with the fact that he wasn't being honest, because Trumbull's big thing before he went into coma was trust. So I do like they acknowledge that. Again, I feel it would have been stronger if that had more setup with the earlier scene I described.
Yeah.
Hmm. I agree. With Mike saying, "Sorry, I let you down," and Trumbull saying, "You did let me down." I'm glad he didn't just like soften the bill, like, "No, it's all right. You're still a loyal friend," and blah blah blah. I'm glad he was stern with him, like, "Yeah, no, you did disappoint me. Thought we were better than that." Though in the previous two films, I didn't really feel their relationship that much anyway. But that might be Morgan Freeman not really trying that much in this.
Well, to be fair, they didn't give him much to. They didn't really give them both much to do and interact and play off of each other in the previous films. I wish they did.
Oh,
They
very
weren't
true.
even
This is the
together in the
first,
previous one.
yeah, first of the trilogy where they actually share scenes together.
That's very true.
Is that true? I'm trying to remember the first one. If
They didn't
they
have a
didn't.
scene together in the first one,
Yeah, they talked to
and
each
then the
other through
second
the
one was faked.
phone, and the second one was staged. Yeah, they actually have scenes together. That's true. That's
That's
very
funny.
valid.
Being
It
the
took
two
a
characters who have
trilogy.
been in,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
the
hey,
two characters who have stuck through all three movies.
I
Get a scene
see.
together in the
I
third
make
one.
the same joke about the Rise of Skywalker. We're finally all of our characters are going on an adventure together for the first time in the trilogy, in the last movie. It's
It is funny that these are like the two sole continued characters through the trilogy. This is the first time they're meeting.
Wild.
That is wild.
all right. I'm pretty much tapped out of my notes, gentlemen.
Oh, Crimson, do you have any more?
Um, yeah, I can do another one. The G20 bit of Morgan Freeman put in wasn't that bad, actually. I think they did a pretty decent job comping him in to the actual footage. They got the grain right. He wasn't too crisp. I think they did
I
well.
agree.
It's just the meta of seeing Morgan Freeman next to Putin is
Yeah,
just so funny to me.
yeah,
It is a
but
little
also that he's the only one
funny.
moving and smiling, and everyone else is standing still. I think that's what throws me out a little bit on it.
No, they're
He's
moving.
just happy to be there.
Yeah, he is happy.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't he be happy to be there? The Russians tried to kill him. Putin's looking miserable.
It is kind of funny that they
Supposedly, the
thought,
Russians
well, not
are.
yeah, not supposedly Trumbull in the movie, but like everyone got the connection because of what Martin was telling everyone is Russian involvement in everything that Mike's been doing. So at the end, seeing Trumbull standing next to Russia essentially is, I guess, a comical.
It's
Because they could
something
have put Morgan Freeman anywhere in that photo or that video, right?
yeah, that's true. They could have. I wish they did a bit more with because they were saying it's like on the verge of war, and I wasn't really feeling it through the movie.
I felt more on the verge of war with South Korea and North Korea in the first one. That
Yeah, there
Yeah,
was
they spend a lot of
one
time
thing on the
explaining the
news.
dynamics of that. So
Yeah, there's one thing in Leah when she was at home that Russia was on the news. When Mike was like, "I'll be gone for a couple days." That was kind of like the biggest like
yeah,
world cry that Russia's involvement in the situation really. But it was just a big, I guess, red herring.
I guess it is a red
I
herring because everything's
suppose.
the VP's fault. So
Yeah, none of it was connected through Russia.
And the VP's reason's pretty weak too. It's actually the British guy from the second one. The system's broken and weak, except no money involved in this one.
Yeah, no harm done, right?
We've
I could
gone
stay
weak.
VP for another 3.5 years.
I
This is a joke.
I
Joke, right?
I do love the line of Morgan Freeman's like, I was just thinking about keeping going just to fuck with you for the next 3 years, but gotta let you get walked out. I do like that line a bit.
On David's
Good on
last day.
David. Yeah. Here's a day before retirement, and then he gets killed. Just
Oh,
go with the stereotype.
it's Lance Riddick against Tim Blake Nelson. Lance Riddick, even with crutches, could carry him out. Like,
Yeah, it's Albert
like,
Yeah.
Wesker.
that was
Of course,
fine to
Lance
me.
Riddick's gonna win.
Sorry, Tim, but
No, it's obvious.
okay.
And with that, I think I'm done.
Well, with that wraps the coverage then of this trilogy because there's no more
Woo!
right now. We will go into summaries and ratings. Let us start. Ooh, it's so fascinating. This one. I mean, we've been fascinated with all of them, but let's start with Crimson.
Okay. So this one's kind of a tough one. There's some parts that stuck with me, like the rooftop and the forest stuff and the dad. I like the dad, but in large, it's it's pretty meh. This is a pretty meh movie. The action sequences aren't as engaging to me as the previous two. We do get more character stuff, but it does sacrifice the action thriller aspect of this. It doesn't feel as smart as the other ones. I think using the gun as a lock pick essentially was cool, but beyond that, there's not a lot of like MacGyver type stuff. It's all pretty much just guns and guns. Uh, so, with that in mind, I'm giving myself a subjective five. Five. It's a fine movie. Um, yeah, that's all I gotta say for that. Objectively, yay. So, I think one of the bigger things with this is what the plan was in the beginning at the lake. I don't think the writers had a plan outside of the coincidence in the eyes of the bad guys that Banning left the president. I don't know what the plan was if they were together on that boat. How do you separate Trumbull and frame Banning when they're both on the same boat? That is something in the plan that is not laid out within the film. We can try to infer stuff, but it's very disconnected inferences. There's nothing to really feed into it. So I think that is an oversight. On a positive, I think they did a good job on the frame job. There's enough evidence to directly point at him. It's a little that the FBI did look at alternatives. At least we're not privy to it until it's spelled out in blood in a cabin. But I think there's enough for um, what the guardian angel, America's guardian angel, to fall in. I think they did a good job with that. The effects, the explosions, the mixture of practical and digital, I think look pretty darn solid in this. Um, the worst being the dust plume behind them as they scurry off into the building. That's atrociously bad. In terms of all the characters, I found them all pretty consistent with themselves. Trumbull, he's been so empty in the other films, at least to me, that he's pretty much a blank slate. So I can buy his shift to being anti-war based off of the other two films. And I think Mike's like grizzled, I'm old, retirement age for this. I'm hurt. I think that was a good thing to throw into this, kind of like the Logan thing that was mentioned, or the Hawkeye. Just an aging soldier. I think that was a good way of implementing it. I wish it had more of an impact in the combat. It doesn't really come into play at all. He doesn't have to like stop because his back hurts. Because they mentioned that his back, like 5 discs, are at risk of damage or something, and his back never comes into play. Um, the bad guys are semi-competent. They didn't drug him when they should have. They at least attack somewhat coordinated. The Secret Service is still stupid. I don't know why Marine 1 was 30 minutes out from where the president's been for like a day or two. Let's see what else is there. And I guess the acting is consistent with the rest of the franchise acting wise. They involved a lot of big names in this, and they do all right, I guess. I like the Jada in this as Helen. I think she did a good job as a dedicated FBI agent, and she had a pretty good death. Very impactful. I feel like I left out a lot of the negatives that we brought up, but where did I give London? I gave London a 4. Is this better than London? I'll give this a 4.5. I think overall it's a bit better produced, but still below par.
Okay. So that's a 4.5 and a 5. We'll go to writer next.
Alrighty. I'll do my subjective first. I enjoyed this more than London. I think purely because of the character stuff. I'm a sucker for character stuff, and the fact that this film focuses more on character, I definitely think that helps it along for me quite a bit. Um, I do think it's a departure from the franchise, which is what would take away from my subjective. So I found Clay to be probably my favorite addition to the story. I think his dynamic with Banning was really, really entertaining for me to watch. I chewed on those scenes whenever they came up. So I think I'm at a subjective 6. I don't know where I remember I put London in terms of subjectivity, but I think this is at a 6 for me. I enjoyed this a little bit more than London.
London was a 5.
Okay, that checks out then. And yeah, I think it's the character stuff that really elevated it a little bit for me. Because that's what I'm a sucker for. Objectively, man, this film has a lot of plot and world building nicks and other things that crop up. I do have a nitpick with Trumbull's somewhat inconsistency. It's not really explaining the world. I do think all the characters are probably more strong in this one. The only aspects I think are missing from Banning is more of the MacGyver stuff, but the film doesn't really give him opportunities to do that. And I don't know whether to necessarily take that as a issue out of the plot or the character. So I'm kind of gonna balance both of them. I think the let's see. It's a lot of problems. Plot armor for Banning a couple times. Obviously survives the grenade, escapes the police, win a semi. I would say there's I would say it's lucky he and Trumbull both survived the plan. I already went over my issues with the plan, so I'm not going to repeat that. I think the Banning gets lucky on sneaking in to see David. I do think there's some underdeveloped drama that takes place. I like that Wade and Banning have a very, very strong friendship before they're kind of split up. They do a good job of building that up, even if it's only one film. I think the the character stuff with Clay and Banning, I think, is a good addition. I like how Lay interacts with Clay. I like how Lay interacts with the FBI agent. I think the FBI storyline is missing some plot beats. Um, Overall, I do think this is still a step up from London. I kind of feel similarly to Crimson. And I think if Olympus Has Fallen was at 6, and I still view that as better. I think the bad guys get lucky a lot in this. And yeah, I'm rambling now. So I think I'm gonna be at a 5 for this one, objectively. We'll see how I feel about that. Well, come recap.
Okay. That leaves me. I'm going to start with my objective. I think the acting in this movie is pretty good. I think Gerald Butler's Scottish accent is probably the most hidden in this one. Um, though, if this was the one he slipped up the most with, I think it would be the most passable because it doesn't feel like the most patriotic American hero of the previous two movies. But I think he does it. His accent's gotten better over time. I think the overall acting is all good. I think the casting choice for people in this movie, a lot of big names. I think that a pretty good cast overall. I think the cinematography is far better than the previous two movies. It's definitely a step up. Editing is fine. I think it's a little better than the previous movies, but nothing like crazy good. But the editing's fine. Good intercuts between action sequences is pretty much the praise I give to it. Lighting is overall good. There's some that definitely could have used better lighting, like when Mike is fighting the car, the four guys, that could have been lit better. The explosions at night, I guess the look at that, the fire in the building exploding, like that kind of lighting, I think could have been better done. The explosions themselves, I think, are really good, practical and CGI use to the explosions. I agree that that green screen uh, uh, fallout situation with the hospital thing looked pretty damn bad. Shoot, what else? The writing, the overall story is fine. It does kind of feel like I've seen it before, so it brings in the predictability, but it does have a little bit of twists that I do like. I like how they got the elements and DNA of Mike to the drone van, like how that's placed and how that came into be. I like that explained. I like the cruelty of Wade being like, "All right, well, you got us figured out," and killing Helen just like off rip, and the FBI, and then they have to move. So I like kind of like the drastics in that. I like the tactical fighting of Wade and his team towards the end, not really the beginning. The whole distraction thing is cool in principle of what they do, but it's not fully explained, like how they hacked 3 cars to turn off and why they need to keep Mike alive, and how Mike being chained up was able to take them all out, kind of thing. So there's some coincidences, like the militia bounty hunters just popping in, the 2 guys breaking in the back of the house so Clay can take them out and have the Leia moment. I guess even when we talked about Martin, the VP, being in the Oval Office having his confidential call, and that's totally fine, and he's protected there. Just stuff like that is just like stretches that are maybe too much, but there's some highs that kind of counter that. As you always miss something out, but overall, I think this movie is probably the best of the 3 movies made. I give this a 7. I think it's a pretty decently made film overall. Subjectively, this one's the tricky one. If this was just a standalone movie, which I feel like this could be a standalone movie, I don't think you need the previous 2 movies to watch this one. There's not like information like, oh, I don't understand what they're talking about here, or oh, where does this come from? Like, I don't think you need anything really to go with it. As a standalone movie, I think this is really darn good. And my score would be probably higher first time. If this was just by itself, I could see myself giving this a 7.5. Probably, kind of thing. However, it's not. this is connected to 2 previous movies, and this is the 3rd installment of a trilogy. So it does come with baggage of the previous 2 movies to this story. It feels so different. It doesn't feel like the same movie. It feels or like the same in the trilogy. It's still fine for what it is, but it doesn't feel like it's connected to the previous 2 with like the overlays or Ben's connection or I guess just like elements that don't feel the escort or the protection kind of thing. Now it's just kind of Mike protecting himself kind of thing versus protecting Trumbull in some way, but he's still protecting Trumbull because he has the truth, and so it's a little different and all that. Which really kind of bunked my subjective down having all this prior stuff. I was really missing Ben. I felt kind of like Wade was the new Ben, like the friend to Mike. Helen kind of felt like the new Lynn kind of situation. So it had like the elements, but it was all different. It did feel like a Rogue One when you're expecting an episodic number like Star Wars movie kind of thing. So subjectively, it's tricky because I do enjoy this one, I think, more than the other 2. I do like the thriller aspect and the suspense of like, oh, how's Mike going to get out of this one when, you know, the country's against him now? How is he going to prove his innocence? All that. I do like that build up and what the movie does with that. So subjectively, I give this a 6.5. I had fun watching it. I could go down a little. I do think it's definitely enjoyable on its own, far more than if you watch these 3 as a trilogy in one day. That I think does get dragged down because of that. What the heck am I hearing?
I have no idea what I'm hearing right now. That was insane, whatever that was, Crimson.
Crimson, that was the wildest response you could have given to me giving my scores.
Do I still sound wild?
No, you sound okay now, but gosh, what a
response.
You
had an even like worse than Alvin and the Chipmunks kind of voice there for a second. Robot Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Staying in.
That is absolutely staying in. Yeah.
I'm curious to hear it. Well, I was bringing up as interesting that brought down a whole point, the fact that it's in the trilogy and not just standalone.
It didn't feel like the previous 2 movies, and I think that takes away from it.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a trilogy of films, you expect a sort of like tone, I guess, with them. You can deviate from that tone, but you need to do it carefully, you know?
Yeah.
You got Harry Potter, you got Chamber of Secrets, then you got Prisoner of Azkaban.
That's true. It's a
Azkaban is definitely different from the first 2.
Yeah, it's definitely a jump.
Back to Future 3 from the first 2.
Yeah.
That still feels the same though. It's just different circumstances.
Does. Yeah.
It does feel the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm okay.
I will say one more thing.
Yeah.
I'm changing my object to a 5.
Okay.
Oh,
I
think the 4.5 was a little harsh. I was thinking on it. It's a 5.
You give it 2 5s.
That's valid. I do think like I said, it is. I think for me at least, I think the character work being stronger is really what helps elevate it above some of its problems, because character work is half my scale. So.
Also, Ben's never explained, right? It's just his term's over.
Never even referenced.
Yeah. He's not even referenced at all. Which again adds to why it feels so disconnected for you, Sprinks.
It does.
Yeah. All right. Well,
weird.
Is there anything else, gentlemen, or shall I read us out?
Well, audience, this season is not just the Fallen trilogy. That's not how I think we talked about when we covered Olympus. Yeah. This one's done with. These are these 3.
Yeah.
Next week starts a new trilogy.
Yep. It's gonna get wild from here on out. All right. Thank you, audience, for listening, whether it be Spotify, Amazon, CastBox, Good Pods, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, and Samsung. And if it be on our visual side of things, be it YouTube, Rumble, or frickin' Spotify. Thank you for watching our PN YouTuber slideshow there. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe everywhere. Tell us how much you hate our opinions or how much you love them. And as always, I've been a Geeky Writer.
I'm Crimson Maroon.
And I am Sprinks.
And we will catch you next time. Later, everybody.
Bye.
Toodaloo.